Not again. Starting off a podcast with more injury news for the Broncos and more injury news with the wide receiver room and more injury news with the wide receiver room in the Broncos' top three receivers. Today, we saw Jerry Jeudy go down at Broncos practice. And let's walk through this. But first, with Alexis Perry, with Henry Chisholm, Zach Stevens here on the DNVR Broncos pod. There is so much to talk about today. The second day of joint practices with the Rams, kind of previewing what to expect in the final preseason game for the Broncos. But we got to start with this Jerry Jeudy news, which is just so unfortunate. Early in camp, Jerry Jeudy, he is running full speed with the ball, and then immediately comes up limp and immediately grabs for his hamstring.
Yeah.
And I could tell right away, like, oh no, this isn't good.
Yeah, I thought what was interesting was, you know, he looked like he was in a ton of pain. He threw his helmet down. He was grabbing the back of his leg. And, you know, trainers started coming over and they were looking at him, and he took a few steps. They tried to walk him off, but it was really clear that he wasn't going to be able to walk off the field, even with assistance. So they had to pull the cart around. He jumped on the cart. I mean, he did not jump on the cart. He was slowly lifted onto the cart. So it's concerning given the fact that the other day we were just talking about, you know, Jalen Virgil, he goes down. Tim Patrick, he's out for the year. Yeah. It's like, how many more injuries can this wide receivers room take? And I mean, I think this is really the final straw. The worst thing is we don't know how severe it is right now. But hoping for good news for Jerry. Hopefully it's just a little tweak. But I just felt like his reaction made it seem more severe than just a little tweak.
Yeah,
and there was breaking news 2 minutes ago. Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero say that he's expected to miss several weeks with a moderate hamstring injury suffered today in practice. Puts Judy's status in question for week one. There's optimism it's nothing long-term for one of Denver's top weapons.
Optimism. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, anything with the hamstring injury is always going to be tricky.
Yeah.
And Alexis, you said it. You're hoping that it's a tweak, but it was pretty clear that that was not going to be a tweak, because typically when you see a hamstring injury happen, they immediately grab for their hamstring. They're in pain. They're in discomfort. And then they are able to walk off slowly under their own power. They walk to the sideline. They walk to the locker room. This was not happening with Jerry Jeudy. Like you said, immediately trainers on each side of him had to help carry him off the field onto the cart. Then once the cart got to the locker room, there's about 10 yards where a player has to walk. And Jerry couldn't even do that walk. There were two trainers again that helped carry him in there. And that is just something where typically a hamstring injury, you're able to do that. And so when he wasn't able to put any weight on it, you knew that this was going to be a couple of weeks. And now they're saying it's a moderate hamstring injury.
Hammies are weird.
They are.
And that's the thing is hamstrings, there's never a good time for an injury.
No.
But if this would have happened literally like a month ago at the start of camp, then it's like, okay, maybe he actually could be 100% by the time the season comes around. Sit him for 6 weeks, let him get healthy. But now the Broncos are going to be in that position that it feels like they've been in with Jerry Jeudy a couple of times, where whether it's a hamstring, which he had a couple of years ago, I believe, or some, a sprained ankle where it's not just he's hurt, he's healthy now, where there's middle ground. And to start a season like this is so tough, obviously, for Jerry, for the medical staff to determine this, and then the coaching staff, because you don't have Tim Patrick you can turn to. We talked about how the Broncos need two of these three big guys, Tim Patrick, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Now you have one, so they're really going to be pushing for Jerry to be back, but you just gotta do it right. Yeah,
it changes everything. I'm working through like my last 53-man roster prediction, and I was like, you know what? I'm keeping 5 receivers. Like, I think there's 5 that make the team at this point. But with Jerry probably not playing week 1 and week 2, then all of a sudden it opens the door to bring back a Kendall Hinton, for example. So it's just a bummer. Like, he had the potential to be the best player on this offense this year, one of the favorites to be the best player, and for him to potentially miss some of the season stinks. At least they say it's moderate, because there was a chance that it was going to be a lot scarier. So I see the tweet that it's moderate and it's a few weeks. I see that as a good thing.
I see it as the opposite.
Really?
Because just of what we saw, I was expecting it to be pretty bad.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I think this is pretty bad. I mean, typically you don't see like completely torn hamstrings. That's just not an injury that really happens.
Yeah.
And so I guess it could have been that. And so
Yep.
the Broncos did dodge that. But you just never really see that one. So, to be guaranteed to miss a couple of weeks when you're only less than 3 weeks out from the regular season, I am not counting on Jerry Jeudy to start week 1.
No.
And in fact, I think that the Broncos should do probably the smart thing with Jerry Jeudy, and he makes the 53-man roster, obviously, but then you put him on IR and open up a spot. And what that does, if you put a player on IR right now, they're done for the entire season. There's nothing you can do if you put them on the IR before roster cut down. If they make the 53-man roster, then you put them on IR. That opens up a roster spot, and then they can come back 4 weeks after.
Yep.
And where we are right now,
Sounds
3
about
weeks before.
right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's going to be 7 weeks from now. And if he's a few weeks from being out to being healthy, not with Jerry Jeudy. I want Jerry Jeudy for the last, what would that be, 13 weeks of the season, as opposed to trying to get Jerry Jeudy there week 3, and then he's set back a little bit after a couple weeks because the hamstring is just never fully healthy.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway, just the injury itself. If it was any other injury, I'd be like, all right, any other moderate injury, cool, he's coming back, maybe week 2, week 3, yeah, put him on the 53, don't put him on IR, expect for him to come back in those first few weeks. Hamstrings, I feel like, I would be curious to know the statistics on this. I feel like they are one of, if not the most finicky injuries for people to come back from, just because, like, it's not being surgically repaired. Like, what's the timing of it? It really is just rehab, and depending on the person, it's going to take longer. And with Jerry Jeudy, I feel like in the past, his injuries have taken him longer to come back from, and this being one of those is kind of unfortunate. So I guess I'm not overly optimistic that he would even be back before. It's not like I've talked to Jerry Jeudy or the medical staff at the Broncos. Like, I don't know exactly what moderate means, but I just don't feel overly hopeful that he would be back even within those first handful of weeks.
And to me, Jerry Jeudy, Hank, you mentioned it. He could be your number 1 player on offense this year.
I know. I had him for over 100 catches this year.
Yeah, and that's just how good he could be, Alexis. And I would rather, again, the question that's probably going to come up within the medical staff, within Jerry Jeudy and his camp, within the Broncos coaching staff is, okay, do we want Jerry Jeudy 100% for the final 13,
100%.
hopefully 100% for the final 13 weeks of the season, or do we need him that bad in week 2 or in week 3? Do we think we're going to need him that bad where it's worth it to put out a 90% Jerry Jeudy? And for me, just with hamstrings, I mean, we've seen it with KJ throughout the years. We've seen it with a couple of guys that hamstrings are maybe that number 1 injury that you say, crossing your fingers when you see the guy back out there, because it's not like a broken bone where it's healed.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that you can pull again, tweak again so easily. So I completely agree. Hank, what were you going to say?
I mean, several weeks. I mean, usually what pulled hamstring you say is about 4 weeks. So I don't know. I'm still optimistic that 4 weeks means probably like the 20th of September he's back. So you miss the first 2 games, come back week 3. It's tough because they need to make all their roster decisions on Tuesday.
Yep.
So it's not like you have half of the time to see where he's at.
What's certainly going to happen is he's going to make the 53-man roster. Yep. You don't have to put him on IR right away.
It's true. It just has to be before that first game.
It has to be before week 1, because what he has to do is he has to miss 4 games for game weeks if you put him on IR. The bye week doesn't matter because it's so far out in this case. So you could have him make the 53 and then not make that decision for you know 10 days. So to your point, they actually could have almost 3 weeks to decide where he's at, and that's certainly what they're going to do, unless they realize right away, like, okay, maybe this is more moderate to severe, or in the next 5 days they realize it's a little worse than we thought, so we need to bring a receiver in. So I just think that's a good point, though, is that they don't have to make that decision right away.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, I came into this thinking it's 4 weeks. It's probably, I think it probably is 4 weeks. Like, that's what you say about hamstring, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, to me, it just reminds me of one of those injuries that,
True,
like, you never know exactly what that timing is. Because, like I said, I think the rehab for each hamstring injury is so much different. Like, I know people, and granted, these are just average Joes who've torn their hamstring, who, you know, they thought they'd be fine in a handful of weeks, and all of a sudden 10, 12 weeks later, they're struggling. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for Jerry Jeudy. He is the best of the best working with him, but I just don't think you can really put an exact number of weeks on an injury like this.
And one more thing just about this injury and Jerry Jeudy before we move on to what it means for this team this year and moving forward is it just reminds me of something Kay Adams said on this show.
Oh, this was funny.
On Monday. Kay essentially said, you know, the feeling that I get when talking to Jerry Jeudy, not that Jerry said this, but she said the feeling that she gets when talking with Jerry is that he just runs such dirty of routes and is that good of a route runner that he's just breaking his own ankles and just can't stay healthy. Now, this isn't an ankle. This wasn't a route thing, but it was another lower body injury. Jerry Jeudy has not played in a full season since being in the NFL, and it just makes me think, man, is there some truth to that? Like, he's so good with his lower legs that maybe he's just a little too hard on him. And puts a little too much pressure on him. And now today, too, what are we talking, 95 degrees out?
It was hot.
It was hot. It was a fast practice. This did happen early in practice, but this practice was the most football, like real football.
Team drill.
Yes, like 11-on-11 football that we've seen in all of training camp. And this is the most that Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson, all the guys on defense have played football since last year when they were playing in actual games. So maybe it was just a freak thing, a combination of all of those. Also, typically, the Broncos go right into like a stretch period midway through, like after 30 minutes in. I don't know if I saw that. No, they probably stretched before, so I'm not saying they didn't stretch. But there were just a lot of different things today.
Yeah, I thought the pacing was different.
Maybe not. Definitely. Maybe doesn't help with an injury like that, a hamstring.
That's true. The thing about the like cutting and doing that stuff is that he was running a straight line. Like, he just got the ball and was just kind of...
That's why it's not exactly that,
you know?
But I mean a lower leg injury and just how much stress he does put on his lower legs with how intense those routes are.
Yeah.
It's just something that... It made me think of that, being like, dang.
Yeah, and that's something, too, where I feel like when you pull a hamstring, it's usually like something that happened in that moment, whether it was a misstep or just whatever that was. But I think what you're kind of hinting at is just wear and tear on his body. Just... throughout this off season, all the work that he's been putting in throughout training camp, like, there's a possibility that just over time it's late in camp. It's not actually technically camp is over. Like, it is, you know what I mean? We're 2 weeks away from the home opener. Final preseason game is coming up on Saturday. So it's like, I just feel like the timing of it's really late in quote unquote camp. As we're getting through that dark tunnel that Sean Payton.
Is there light?
I feel like there's like a skosh of light, just like a little skosh of light.
You're nicer than Sean.
Yeah. I feel like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but at the end of the day, these guys are going to be grinding day in and day out for the next handful of months. So, no, the point being is I wonder if it's late in camp and people are just tired. It's been hot. It's been,
really freaking hot.
It's been really freaking hot. I just feel like there's a chance that there's some wear and tear on most of these guys. Hence the energy yesterday, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of like, merp.
So the U.S. National Library of Medicine, they did a study, and it was a while back, but it was from 2001 to 2011. There were 176 hamstring injuries in the NFL, and on average, players missed 2.6 games, just for what that's worth. So
I did say
on
I wanted
average.
stats, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, there you go. So
yeah.
there's 2001 to 2011, so it's outdated, and who knows? I guess they'd say moderate hamstring injury, so maybe it's a little optimistic to say right in the middle would be the average is 2.6, but I don't know.
Yeah, and
I think he's probably back by the end of September.
But
Which
is
is
it-
based on nothing, I guess, but
Okay, say he's ready to come back and it's week 3. Like, why not just give him one extra week? Like, put him on IR, you know what I mean? Give him one extra week to just make sure that it's as
But
you know,
also,
in tip-top shape as possible.
what if you're 1-1 and you're going down to Miami, his hometown, and he gets to play Jalen Waddle, his former teammate, and they're putting up big numbers, and then you don't bring back your potentially your best offensive player, and so now you're 1-2 and you're trying to climb back out of that hole the rest of the season with some of your easiest games behind you.
Spare me with the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Not that he's going back home. Not that he's going up against
Oh,
Tua,
okay.
his former quarterback, his
I
former
don't
wide
care.
receivers. No. That does not account into it at all for me. But if he is ready to go, but the thing is, too, you're not going to be making this decision before week 2. You're going to be
Yeah.
making it before week 1. But
Maybe.
we might actually all be closer to the same page than we think. If if you're thinking his ETA back is the end of September, week 4 is the first day, I believe, of October, or it's October 2nd.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna push it till the end of September, you're talking he's gonna miss week 3. Then in that case, it's like, okay, for me at least, let's open up one more roster spot. But the more important thing to me is keeping Jerry Jeudy safe from himself.
Yeah.
Because Hank, to be fair, I think he's going to have that emotional response to wanting
yeah.
to play in week 3. I certainly think you're right about that. But from my perspective, if I'm the one controlling it, I'm not letting that play anything into it.
No, and you can't. Like, it's just, is he ready or not? But that could be a huge week to have him ready to go. And the thing is, like, opening up a roster spot, so you'd probably do it about the same way you did it last year, which is they cut Mike Purcell because he's a veteran,
Yep.
so he doesn't have to clear waivers. So they leave him off the team for a day so that they could put somebody on IR. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Simmons because he got hurt week 1. But
was it Brandon Johnson?
yeah,
Again?
I think it was Brandon Johnson. Yeah, so they put him on IR, and then they're able to pick Purcell back up. And I guess you probably do it the same way this year because otherwise there's no point in saving the roster spot, you know? Because if you're saying, well, we want Nate Adkins to not have to clear waivers, your only option is to cut a vet probably just for a day or two and make that decision within a few days of cut down day. But I don't think they'll put him on IR. Just looking at the timeline, I think it's worth risking that you wasted a roster spot for a few weeks if he really can't play week 3, week 4, just because he is such a good player. And if this team gets off to a slow start, then what's going to happen? Because their tough games are at the end.
So sorry, Alexis.
No, I was just going to ask, like, is it worth just noting the number of injuries to the wide receiver room already?
It's
and
crazy.
maybe needing that additional roster spot to make sure that there is another wide receiver that sticks around.
Yeah.
Given the fact that as of now, the way that it's trending, and I'm not saying it'll continue trending this way, but as it has been trending, they might need another wide receiver.
I think that as of right now, so let's just say they carry 5. So that's Jerry, Cortland, Mims, Callaway. And I guess my point is, if you have to have somebody clear waivers and put them on the practice squad, they can play from the practice squad the first 2 weeks. Is Kendall Hinton going to get claimed if you put him on the practice squad? I don't think so. Like, there's a chance. And if
The
that
Hall
if,
of Famer, Kendall Hinton?
that's our Hall of Famer, Kendall Hinton. Like Lil Jordan Humphrey, like I don't think you're worried about him getting claimed because he didn't. He was a free agent for the second half of last season, so the teams had their chance. So I don't think that there's anybody who you couldn't just put on your practice squad and have them play and have it play the same effect as if you just gave them a 6th receiver spot on the roster.
So I think a reason why they would be okay with stashing him on the 53 and wasting quote unquote a roster spot for a week 2, 3, or 4 is because Sean Payton time and time again has emphasized how important a fast start is. He's mentioned, in fact, Albert Breer put out an article 2 days ago, and in that article he mentioned how important a fast start is. So 6 months ago, Sean was talking about how important a fast start is. 3 months ago, this week, he's still talking about it. And you want all your guys for a fast start, but the reason to just put him on IR right away is to say, again, what I've said, we want you healthy for the last 13 weeks of the season, not for the beginning. But I wouldn't be shocked if Sean Payton has kind of that desperate approach in those first 4 weeks when the Broncos have very winnable games.
Definitely. And I think you look through the roster and, I mean, who knows how it'll actually shake out, but you look at like Nate Adkins, Alex Palshevsky, Alberto, maybe like PJ Locke and JL Skinner, and throw like Alex Forsythe in there. So there's 6 guys. Should have used the pinky to count. And you probably have roster spots for 4 of them. But you get rid of Jerry or put him on IR, get rid of him for the first 4 weeks.
Now you got 5.
Then you got 5. And that's kind of where that math comes into play. But is
feel like
keeping
you're
Alberto
slowly,
but if you keep Alberto for like 4 weeks, I guess odds are in the NFL, and we'll touch wood, somebody else probably goes on IR in the first 4 weeks. So that's just how football plays out. So maybe you do keep that roster spot for him. But what is Alberto doing? I feel bad singling him out. In those first 4 weeks, they're like, we need to have that so badly that we're willing to risk having a healthy Jerry
Scoring
Jeudy.
touchdowns like we've seen yesterday and today.
Week from the Broncos.
From Jarrett Stidham.
No, it's very true. He might get bumped up because of this. And let's talk about these implications and what this means for other guys on the roster. I mean, it seems like we can't even get past 4 wide receivers before it's like, I don't know what else there is. So let's
Brandon
talk
Johnson. I should have named him. There's 5.
And let's talk about these guys after I tell you about our friends over at Game Time. And over at Game Time, you can start looking at tickets for the Raiders game week 1. And if you use the code DNVR when you download the Game Time app, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. That's with our friends over at Game Time. Download the app, use the code DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase, which can be to the Raiders game. Jerry Jeudy might not be there, but you'll be able to see Davante Adams and Pat Surtain go head-to-head. Maybe the best matchup this entire season in terms of wide receiver, cornerback combo. So check out our friends over at Game Time. Whether it's for the Raiders game or whether it's for anything else, they've got the Game Time guarantee as well. So check them out, Game Time, code DNVR.
And also, Kind Love. Yeah, well, I found another good stat. Also, Kind Love, which is awesome. If you're sitting at home and your hamstring's a little bit sore and you want to ignore the pain, it's not a bad option. Especially because what's the drug testing policy in the NFL now? I think like there's 1 test before the season and you can't be suspended for it, only fined. So that means at this point,
light it up.
Yeah, like it's an option. It's an option if that's how you want to handle things. And Kind Love is a great option because you can go get the Turbo Core, which is a little thing that you just shove into anything you smoke. Really, it could be like a cigarette, could be a joint, and you smoke it and it burns super even and it makes it way more potent. And it's just in general a good time. And it's vegan. And it's filled with nothing that's bad for you. So Turbo Core is one of the things that makes Kind Love unique, but there's so many of them. You can go check them out by going to either one of their stores. There's one in North Denver. There's one South Denver. Either one's a great option. And at either one, if you say DNVR, just say that we sent you or anything like that, you'll get 25% off all Kind Love flour, pre-rolls, and their Turbo Joint line. And if you want to check it out for yourself right now, you can go to kindlove.com for their full extensive menu and online ordering.
There we go. So check out those partners. And what does this mean for the Broncos this year? Specifically, we don't even have to talk about whether it's week 4, week 5, week 8. What does it mean for week 1? Because as we've said, no Tim Patrick, maybe no Jerry Jeudy. Doesn't look good for Jerry Jeudy at least. Cortland Sutton, and then who? Who's going to step up? Who's the number 2 receiver on this team? Who's the number 3 receiver on this team?
It's like Brandon Johnson and the Marvin Mims show.
It is. I mean, I think Brandon Johnson's probably top of the list to me.
Yeah.
He's been the best player. He was out there making plays today. Jarrett Stidham had this incredible series, like his old second segment in team drills. He hit Kendall Hinton deep to the left. He dropped one like over the shoulder to Brandon Johnson on the right side. Completed 2 more passes. A third one was for a first down to Alberto. Like, it was 4 for 4 with big gains. It looked awesome, and Brandon Johnson was a big part of that. So I think, to me, he's the top of the list. One of the things that Sean Payton said yesterday was that they kind of like to rotate players at receiver. Maybe that was today. I think it was yesterday. And he kind of made it sound like you don't, not just within a game, but throughout the season. You know, you have a couple of looks and you try this, and then you bring in a couple guys who do something else. And now with the practice squad being the way it is, you can keep 3-4 guys there, especially if you want to keep it kind of shallow with 4 or 5 on the active roster. In that way, each week, game day, you get to pick who you elevate, who actually plays for you. And the other team either has to scout like 8 or 9 receivers or just say, like, we don't know what's coming from these guys. So I think Brandon Johnson's the top of the list, but I think that the separation between him and Taylor Grimes is not all that wide.
Yeah. I love that take, too, of what Sean Payton was saying in terms of rotating guys, because the more difficult that you make this on defensive coordinators and defenses around the league with giving them so many different guys that they can have to be worried about, I mean, that is absolutely ideal. I think Brandon Johnson's a guy who, if you guys remember early in camp, like, he was the guy that we could not stop talking about. And of course, that injury that took him out for a little bit really quieted the conversation on him. But he is still that same player who we were talking about early in camp. He's dynamic, and he is somebody who can make plays for this team. And I think he really is the obvious guy to step up. But Marvin Mims Sr. would say otherwise, I think. I think Marvin Mims Sr. would say, my boy.
And
ready.
I agree with Marvin Mims Sr. Because I think it is Marvin Mims.
I think it's gonna have to be
already. I think he is the Broncos' number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
I was projecting that even with Tim and Jerry healthy, that by the end of the season, Marvin Mims had a chance to be the Broncos' number 2 receiver. I think in week 1, he's going to be the Broncos' number 2 receiver. He's a rookie that just from the moment they drafted him, showed so much maturity.
Yep.
And I think Sean Payton, you can tell when you talk to Sean and when you talk to Joe Lombardi that he has shown that maturity to them as well, not only with being a receiver, but handling receiving duties and kick returner and punt returner duties. I mean, he's listed as the number 1 receiver, kick returner, punt returner. And then right now on the depth chart, he's the number 1 receiver alongside Jerry Jeudy, if you, or alongside Courtland Sutton. I'm sorry, you take out those injuries, and I think that is who is going to be the guy. And we saw it when Tim Patrick went down. That exact same Tim Patrick went down. Marvin Mims had a really good day. Now today, on the offensive side, we'll get into the rest of what happened today. No one really jumped out on the offensive side, but I do expect this week 1, Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims. And Marvin Mims also complements Courtland Sutton pretty darn well. And one more thing about this, not just what Marvin Mims possesses, but Sean Payton has shown when he was in New Orleans that he's fine with rookie receivers playing.
I was just going to say, I love the idea of giving a young guy, a first-year player, these snaps. Like, you might as well. At the end of the day, this is a year for this team where you have to kind of just throw everything out and just have fun and try to figure things out as you go. I understand that Sean Payton is, like we all know, so much more methodical and intentional and da-da-da-da-da. But
everything he does is for a reason.
Everything he does is for a reason. Yes, to an extent. But at the same time, this is an opportunity to let young guys who have great potential show up and prove you right. There's a reason why they drafted him. There's a reason why they wanted him here. And I just think that why not give a young guy the opportunity?
Yep.
And I think it's going to be him. And on top of that, in Sean Payton's career, rookie receivers have thrived. Michael Thomas, a name everyone knows.
Yep.
He went for 1,000 yards his rookie season. Now people are saying, well, Michael Thomas.
He's Michael Thomas.
Yeah. He was a second round draft pick.
Marvin
was
Mims
not a top 5 pick like it turns out. This was not Julio Jones. Michael Thomas was a second round pick, just like Courtland Sutton was, just like Marvin Mims was, and he exploded. Marquez Colston. Sorry, Marquise Colston? Marcus Colston. He was undrafted, I think.
So, yeah.
Or 7th round pick. He had 1,000 yards as a rookie. So Sean is not only not afraid to have rookies take a role, he's not afraid to give him like a starting role. And so that's why I just think, man, it did make sense if Marvin wasn't going to be a starter, if you had Courtland, Tim, Jerry all healthy, and Marvin just hadn't cracked that top 3 yet at the start of the season. But now it's like, it's him or it's guys that, could be good role players. But come on, Marvin Mims isn't supposed to be a role player when there's a position wide open for him.
I mean, Brandon Johnson also has a high ceiling. Like, he's made plays just about every day he's been out there. Like I said, like there was another big one today.
Marvin Mims' ceiling is so much higher.
Is that
than
true,
Brandon.
or is he just faster though? Like, because
That's
sometimes
part of the ceiling.
I don't know, because you look across the NFL, somebody found a great stat. It's so you got the speed receivers, you got Jalen Waddle, and you've got Tyreek Hill. But outside of that, the rest of the top 10, they're all guys who ran a 4.45 or slow, or even slower than 4.45. None of them did. That's Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, like Cooper Kupp is obviously in there. Michael Thomas is in there. I guess he probably isn't on that list anymore. But you go through just about all of them.
Speedster.
I mean, that's where he made his money. Like, they didn't run a real route tree. I mean, that's why he's kind of had to prove that he can run routes. Like, that's not...
And he can.
I just need to see it. I just need to see it.
And you
before
probably
I can
will
believe
week
it.
one.
I hope
Yes,
so.
yes. I mean,
hope
I've
so.
seen it on the practice field. Marvin Mims is not impressing me with a 50-yard touchdown every other practice. I don't know if he's even had that.
No.
But he has it. He's been pretty good when he's been given the opportunity.
Yeah.
I do think that Brandon Johnson right now is probably the number 3 receiver for the Broncos. So I'm not bashing Brandon Johnson. I think it's Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Brandon Johnson.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think these are guys that we've talked about having drop issues either. Have we?
Not really.
Like, have we seen an absurd number of drops from Brandon Johnson or Marvin Mims? Like, for me, I don't need to see the flashiest, 50-yard touchdown day in and day out here during camp to be like, oh my God, Marvin Mims, he should start week 1. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, is he going to catch the ball when it is in his target zone? Like, is he going to bring it in? And right now, these are guys I think that this offense can rely on. Even though they're young, they're probably going to make mental mistakes. They seem like guys who will at least catch the ball. And no offense to Jerry Jeudy, but that is something that he's really struggled with. So I think it could be a way for these guys to get an opportunity, show that they can make plays, catch the ball. And obviously, when Jerry's ready to come back, they will respectfully step down, take their place, and they're, fill the role that they're asked to fill at that time. But I think this is a cool opportunity to see some other guys, catching passes from Russell Wilson in the first few weeks.
Definitely. I just hope it goes well. Because there's just nobody who's proven anything. Like, you've got Courtland Sutton, and they're just... You're just hoping.
That's the whole
You're
thing.
just hoping.
Here's to hoping, right?
Definitely.
But at the same time, who said it today? Was it VJ? Where he said that Sean Payton, he doesn't just hope. Like, he is constantly teaching. And I think that question was, or that answer, excuse me, was in reference to the culture in the building. But I think that applies to everything that Sean Payton's doing. Like, they're teaching, and he's not hoping that guys are going to be ready. He's expecting that, and he's making sure that the coaches, himself, his entire staff are doing what they can to get those guys ready. And I don't think is there like kind of a drop off in depth in pretty much every single room? For sure. But when it comes to wide receivers, like, I don't know. I think the key to being a great wide receiver in the league is playing.
Definitely. That's how it starts.
You have to play.
Because that's the thing in the NFL is that, like, the targets come.
Yeah.
It's like I guess I couldn't go out there, but you take Michael Bandy, back of the roster guy at this point, put him out there. Over the course of a game, he's going to get the ball thrown his way 6 or 7 times, and he's probably going to catch at least like 3 of those, because that's just the way things work in the NFL. But the difference between catching 3 of those and catching like 5 or 6 turns out to be the difference between winning games and losing games. And I don't know. It's going to be a stressful couple weeks watching these practices, because I just want to see something from Marvin Mims. Just give me something to work with.
What have you seen?
Feel excited.
What haven't you seen?
Enough.
I mean, what, he had like 1 catch today? 2 catches today?
Who had more?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm so scared.
Yeah, is that Marvin
But what I'm
Mims'
saying
problem?
is, I haven't said Courtland Sutton had a drop pass yesterday.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything else yesterday. Courtland Sutton today, maybe a catch or
Got
2,
one on
but
the sideline.
it's not like anything incredible that he's done. So it's not like I'm seeing Courtland go off and off and off and off, and then I'm like, where's Marvin Mims?
But the thing is, we've seen it from Courtland before. Like, I know he's an NFL receiver. Like,
So you're gonna put Marvin Mims on the bench?
No. Like, he's obviously on the field, but it's just like it. I would probably go sign another receiver just to have another proven option, just
Like
because
who?
that's the tough part. I mean, Sammy
Jarvis
Watkins is out
Landry?
there. Watkins is probably top of my list. Like, you got Julio out there, but Julio doesn't do much for me. I think
None of these guys do that much for me, and there's a
No.
reason that they're still out there on August
Definitely.
24th. I mean, we're no longer talking like guys that didn't want to participate in the offseason program
Definitely.
that sat out and that are going to sign a deal at training camp. And these are guys that, I mean, teams are cutting down their roster in 3 days, and people still don't want them on their team. Or maybe there's one guy that can still play that's just asking for too much money, and that number will come down in a week, and maybe that's a good opportunity. But there's a reason. I mean, you look at Jarvis Landry's numbers. He's like going for 500 yards 2 years ago, 250 yards last year. It's like, that's a really
I think you
bad
just develop
trend.
what you have at this point.
Yeah, and you've been developing these guys for some of them. Brandon Johnson, 18 months. Other people since April of this year. So there's no savior out there. I guess that's the big thing to me. And is this team going to go spend a 3rd round pick to bring someone in? Probably not.
You
can't.
Have
not when you
enough.
have all those guys on the roster.
So how concerned are we? How concerned are we about, let's not just even talk about Jerry, but instead of week 1 going in with Tim, Cortland, and Jerry, you're going in with, in whatever order, Cortland, Brandon Johnson, and Marvin Mims. Do you think those are the top 3?
So
Not in
yeah,
that order, but
I
just
think they've
those
made
are
it
the top
pretty
3?
clear that those are top 3.
How much does this impact the Broncos in winning games for the number of games that they have to go out with that lineup?
I mean, like a 4-point swing to the spread.
Wow,
Really?
that's huge.
3.4 points.
I mean,
I
that's
think
3
I think they were
points.
going to run the ball anyways. Like it doesn't.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
That helps. And doesn't this just add even more emphasis to that?
100%.
Like, hasn't this whole training camp with the injuries, with the tackles kind of being rotating doors, it just all keeps funneling more toward balance. Nope, run. And, I mean, you hear the offensive lineman talk about it. Who do we talk to earlier in the week? Quinn?
Yeah.
He's like, we want to be damn good in run blocking so that they just keep running the ball because that's what we like.
And they're a lot better in run blocking than they are in pass
Definitely.
pro. So
You have Samaje. You have now not just Samaje and Javonte, the two-headed monster. Now you have Jaleel McLaughlin as well.
Definitely. But I mean, how many touches is he getting? Like, there's only one ball.
But I mean, that's now 3 backs instead
Definitely.
of just. No, that's good. That's good.
I didn't hear.
I deepened my voice and yelled, feed, what did I just say?
Feed Jaleel.
Feed
I said
Jaleel.
it well the first
Yeah,
time.
you
Then I
did.
couldn't say it the
Yeah.
second
In
time.
your voice, it actually made it sound even smoother. too.
Yeah.
Can we get it again? Now that you're on the spot.
Feed Jaleel.
There we go.
You still just need the threat of a passing game, though.
Of course.
When you can just load up with an 8-man box, like right now, they could go out there and just double cover
I
Portland.
just
Like, why
don't-
not?
I don't think
go
there's
man
a
across the
single
board.
defense that's even taking our passing game seriously anyways.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, you needed so much help with this passing offense.
Exactly.
You got from last year. You got a huge boost
Yeah.
with Sean Payton. Russell Wilson does look like he's getting back to Russell Wilson form with Sean. And then you still have these things holding him back, like that pass protection. Now these injuries. And it's like, man, you take one step forward, and now
And
it feels like
two
you're
steps
almost
back.
taking 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Russ needs the help. This offensive line needs the help. What have we been seeing the Broncos have success with, especially over these past couple of weeks in the passing game? It is short, quick passes. What do you need for short, quick passes? You need guys to get instant separation. Jerry Jeudy, number 1 on your team at doing that. And then you need playmakers that once they get the ball in their hand, they can do something with it. Because if you're trying to rely on 4-yard passes and runs to move all the way down the field, that you're relying on 17-play drives. And if you're doing that, you're just crossing your fingers that you don't turn the ball over, because the more plays you have, the more risk there is with turning the ball over. And if they just have no threat of passing, no play of big threat passing, whether that's a 50-yard pass down the field or whether that's a 4-yard slant that turns into a 50-yard pass because Jerry Jeudy breaks someone's ankles after catching it and takes off, that just opens you up for a lot more chances of failure. So, Henry, I don't think you're crazy saying it's a field goal or more swing for this. And it's just, honestly, like maybe the worst unit to be hit.
Yeah. I would just, out of curiosity, pulled up Pro Football Focus. They ranked every receiver room in the league. So
In terms of last year's performance? Or?
just like what they think will be this year.
Okay.
Like who you'd most like to have, who you'd least like to have. So the Texans were last. Nico Collins, John Mechie, Robert Woods. You probably feel better about the Broncos.
Right now, you're saying like week 1?
I mean, would you rather have Cortland Sutton or Robert Woods? I think probably Court.
Yep.
And then John Mechie or Marvin Mims. Like That's a tough one.
Yeah, it
Mims
is.
or Metu is the better prospect, also coming off of a leukemia. That's just
I'm very, very, very high on Marvin Mims, and yeah, John
Yep.
Mechie, roll tide.
true.
But I'm just that high on Marvin Mims.
But then you go to 31.
so you're talking about the week one without Jeudy, without Tim.
Exactly. Yeah. But then 31 is the Panthers with Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, another.
DJ Chark just got injured today.
Oh.
I believe. So
There you
then,
go.
yeah,
So
give
maybe
me
not that, but
Broncos.
yeah. So Jonathan Mingo, another second-round pick. After that, Laviska Shenault, Shai Smith, Terrace Marshall,
Oh, watch what
second-round
you say
pick.
about Laviska Shenault around Alexis Perry.
There's buffing
We
around.
love him. No, I'm saying that's a good thing.
love
Like
him.
he'd be right there. I mean, I guess he'd probably be in number 4. He'd be in front of Callaway probably. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But so you're looking at probably like a bottom 3 receiver room in the NFL after saying, look at this room with Cortland Sutton and
Right.
Jerry
Yep,
Jeudy and
yep,
Tim
yep.
Patrick and Marvin Mims. Is he
Yep.
on the field?
You know
And
what?
the elephant in the room is that KJ Hamler might be back. And that could be massive if he actually is.
Yeah, and I'm not counting on that. I know you and I
That's
are taking
fair.
kind of different
Yeah.
approaches to that. Actually, you and I are taking different approaches to this
To
whole
most of it.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have been like all off season.
KJ Hamler's not in the building. He
True.
does not have a contract with this team,
I
so
will
I'm not
say-
counting on him at all. Maybe
I-
this opens the door a little bit more for him, though.
We went into the team store today. They were selling, I think it was 10 different jerseys. So Atwater, Terrell Davis, Elway, Javonte, Russ, Cortland Sutton, Pat Surtain, Justin Simmons, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler.
You know why? 'Cause
Not
they had
discounted.
extras.
Not discounted.
If the team store knows the moves that Sean
I'm
Payton
just
and
saying.
George
I
Payton
was
are
gonna
going to
say.
make
It
ahead
was
of time,
interesting.
that blows my mind.
I turned the corners like number 1 is up there. Like that's surprising. But I don't know.
I love that
It's there.
Hamler was on the list like at any point.
The-
I
I
love
know,
KJ Hamler,
exactly.
of course, especially as a person, but
Yeah.
obviously as a player, he's just been so injury ridden, and the heart stuff is really, really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
I just don't think that there's any way that they bring KJ Hamler back this year. I think it's
Really?
so
Okay.
odd that his jersey is in there. Like there wasn't like
Yeah.
like Justin. There was. Did you say Justin Simmons
Simmons is up there. Yeah.
Simmons is up there.
Surtain. Those are the only 2 for the defense.
for the defense?
I believe so. Or no,
That's
Gregory. Randy Gregory. That's like the back of the rack after
Nice.
like Jerry Jeudy. There's
The
a
back
couple.
of the rack.
Yeah, I was
Give me
like,
a
wait,
little
the number
rap
5
song.
is that Teddy? I was like, no.
Like,
but the
can
other
we get
thing
some
is,
Bash Bros, like some Singleton jewelry?
Yeah. I know,
isn't
Like,
it?
let's go.
Yes. But I also, so Madden updated their rosters for the first time yesterday.
Oh, okay.
KJ Hamler's still a Bronco. They didn't take him
Interesting.
off.
So, because of the team store
I'm just
and
saying there's
Madden,
signs.
KJ's going to be back.
There's signs.
No, those are not signs.
They're signs.
Madden is
Those are
not-
massive signs.
Madden is not a sign.
It's a sign.
Give me a break. That is laziness by
That's a
Madden.
sign.
Not knowing their shit is what it is.
I see
Yeah.
a sign.
I think you see what you want to see,
yeah,
Hank.
yeah.
It is what I want to see too.
I do think that opens the door a little bit more for KJ, but I'm still not counting on him much at all. You know what? Is just so much salt and lime in the wound for this is saying that they're maybe a bottom 3 receiver room as it appears right now with the injuries. Still number 1 paid receiver room in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, it stinks because, 2 of the guys are injured and stuff.
Yep.
But we heard 2 years ago, last year, this offseason, all of these guys say, man, just wait till all of these guys, meaning Jerry, Court, and Tim, just wait till all 3 of us are healthy.
Yeah.
Just wait till what we're going to do. We heard Jerry say that a month ago.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm at the point where I'm never counting on that to happen again.
No.
And these 3 guys may not all be on the roster healthy again at any point because the Broncos may move on from Tim or Cortland after this year with the way their contracts are. So, but in terms of these 3 being healthy, you just can't count on it ever again, which just stinks.
Don't think my heart will ever heal from the Tim Patrick injury.
Yeah.
Like, especially
It's
watching
brutal.
it, it replays in my mind in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Because I think all of us, for that specific play, we're watching Tim Patrick. And to see it happen like that and just to know the immediate impact that injury has on this team. And like you said, when you have, Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, like the contracts that those guys have been paid,
Yep.
all you want to do is not only just like see those 2 and what they could do together, but like just for the sake of those guys as human beings, like you just want to see them playing together and see them healthy. And the fact that Tim has to go through this again, like, I don't know. I'm still not over it. It's going to take all season for me to get over missing Tim Patrick out there. I think we're going to see it and feel it week in and week out. Like, oh man, imagine if Tim Patrick was out there. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I do feel like if given the opportunity, there are guys like Brandon Johnson and Marvin Mims who are going to step up in some capacity, whether it's going to meet Hank's wild expectations. Like, I'm not really sure, but I'm trying to figure out from you, Hank, like you said, oh, you just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, what have you seen from Marvin Mims, if anything, that makes you excited to
There was the one deep
potentially
ball.
see him?
There
There
Yeah.
was the one deep ball. When was that? That was a couple days ago. It was like up the right side into the end zone.
Was it from Russ?
It was from Russ. It
Okay.
might have been 7-on-7s.
Was it last week? Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think
yep.
it was 7-on-7s. So there was that play that you really like. I mean, he caught one ball in the game, but that obviously doesn't do
I'm
too
just like
much for you.
forcing you to say something nice about
Yeah.
Marvin Mims because I
I
think
mean,
He
you
just
know.
won't. He
I
There
know.
was a
can't
nice-
beat it out of him. This is
I know.
You
brutal.
see me?
I'm
like,
excited.
hitting it on
I'm
the other
excited.
angle.
Like, you watch the college tape and you can get really excited. Like, because
Yeah.
in college he's running it's the Oklahoma offense where they don't even run routes. It's just like run really far, really fast, take like this big swooping turn. And when you ask him, like somebody who's that fast to go do that, he's gonna get open. That's the sort of stuff that they're gonna have to do more of. I think today, like I only had him with one catch, but the catch that I saw was the contested catch. I think it was a third down. Guy kind of on his back on the sideline. Like, that's a tough catch. But again, it's just the volume. Like, we have seen like a couple of those flashes. The big one being the 7-on-7 touchdown.
Yeah.
But flashes are awesome for like your fourth receiver. When you're asking the guy to be out there for, there'll be a rotation, so it won't be every play. But if he's your number two, like 90% of the snaps, you're hoping he's out there. You gotta have some sort of consistency, and it'll be
The
nice to see.
opportunities he's got, I've seen that.
You think so? Okay.
I haven't seen that with the first team offense more from Brandon Johnson, more because remember Brandon Johnson had like 3 practices
Yeah,
where he was kind of that 3 before he got injured. So I mean, it's not like he was stacking. And again, I like Brandon Johnson. I think he could be a good third receiver for this team. But it's not like I've seen so much more from everyone else and just waiting to see it from Mims. I have.
Oh no,
personally
and it's
seen
not
that.
like it's an anti-Mims feeling. It's just that, like, I don't think that Brandon Johnson can be that he is a number 3 receiver right now. You know, I'm excited for him to get the opportunity. I think we've seen the flashes from him too, the talent, but he also just hasn't proven enough that he should be a number 3 receiver yet. You know, you should kind of work your way in a little bit, and
Yeah, and these
that's
guys
just
are just being forced out there.
exactly
to be the number 2,
and
to
that's
be
what's
the
so
number 3.
concerning is
Okay.
that you
Yeah,
just
of
have
course.
guys who
Yeah.
they're just being asked to fill roles that they haven't proven yet that they're ready for.
They have to microwave their development.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that
They're
there's
not putting this shit in the slow
Sean
cooker.
Payton will find ways around it. Like, I think we're gonna see Javonte at receiver, and hopefully Jerry's just back week 1 and everything goes well. Like, there's a real chance of that. Like, it's not like he's out week 1. It's in doubt. You know, it puts that in jeopardy, I think was what they said. And hopefully it's just 1 or 2 weeks where you say, you know what, we're gonna play Dulcich as our slot receiver, whatever percentage of the time. We're gonna get Javonte lined up outside and get Jaleel some touches in the backfield. But you're going into this thinking like we really need to patch things together these first couple weeks and try to do some weird stuff to spread this workload around. That it'd be nice to see them run an offense and get to build with the pieces that they want to build around.
The good news is if anyone can do it, it's Sean Payton.
Definitely.
Being able to, I mean, Henry, you asked him when we talked to him at the Super Bowl, what's, the one thing you're most impressed with? And he's like, I'm not going to talk about that. I did have one game where 4 different undrafted guys scored a touchdown. And so he can do that. He can work with the Nik Williams of the world. With the 2nd round pick rookie Marvin Mims. But one guy he's really going to have to work with is Courtland Sutton. And over at Bet365,
Yes.
Courtland Sutton's over-under yards this year still at 700.
Really?
So if
You've
Might
got
wanna
to
get
take
in on
the
that
over.
Courtland
right
Sutton
now.
doesn't
You've
hit
got to
the
take
over,
the over.
Yeah.
miserable passing season for the Broncos. I mean, I don't even want to talk about what that looks like.
I mean, odds are
Look, miserable. So
probably.
you better hope that Courtland Sutton hits that, and you can still get that. I'm looking at it right now over at Bet365, and if you check out our friends over at Bet365, they are going to hook you up in the process because they not only have so many different bets, you can get a 30% profit boost on your same game parlay if you're betting over there. You can also get $200 in bonus bets by depositing $10. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets by placing a $1 bet when you deposit $10 or more into your account. So make sure to check out our friends over at Bet365. And I don't want to say it's a guarantee, but if Cortland Sutton doesn't get 700 receiving yards, it's going to be a very sad year for the Broncos. So check them out and use that code DNVR when you sign up. That's DNVR365 actually when you sign up over at Bet365. And you must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, text or call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Bet365 code DNVR365.
And also go get yourself some sunglasses. I, of course, wear my Shady Rays every day to practice. It's actually kind of tough because, so I like put on my sunscreen, but to put my sunscreen on, I have to take my sunglasses off. And then I always get super nervous that I'm going to touch the lenses when I put them back on, which is a weird thing because like it's not like that's an issue I have. Like I don't touch the lenses, but as soon as I feel a little bit extra sunscreen, I get nervous.
Wow.
It's like at Topgolf. Like I can't do Topgolf because whenever I get out there, my hands just start sweating and I can't hold on to the club. And
do your hands, you get nervous because you're just
thinking about
let the club fly?
Yeah, I know I would never do that because that doesn't happen when you golf. But as much as I tell myself that, it's just subconscious. Like I can't. Yeah, it's
not on
awful.
the normal course though.
Oh no, I mean not once has the club just come flying out of my
It
hands.
would be so much more embarrassing at Topgolf.
Are you the guy,
exactly.
Are you the guy that brings a glove to Topgolf then, or do you just not Topgolf at all?
No, it's just weird because like my girlfriend's parents were in town, and so we went to like Topgolf and have fun. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna bring my glove. That's a weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to do. But then I get there, I'm like half swinging, and the one time I'm like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna swing hard, and if it goes, it goes. And I feel it just like slip an inch of my hand. I'm like, oh my god! So I like pull up and shank it, and
I feel like there has to be a doctor that can fix this. Like,
I don't
like
think
a
so.
perspiration
See, even just
problem.
like, can you see how shiny this is right now? It's just
Are
the
you
thought
okay?
of being
Or
on
are
the
you
edge.
You're nervous.
I am nervous, but that's just I
are you
can't.
nervous?
Just always. He's anxious.
Broncos receivers,
Yeah,
they don't
apparently,
have
I
enough
think
players.
so.
I don't know what they're gonna
Anxious.
do.
Well,
But yeah,
thankfully, if you somehow ruined your Shady Rays, you'd be able to get another
it's
pair.
so true. Because
Very
if you
true.
damage them, they will send you a free pair. If you lose them, they'll replace your pair. But still, it always makes me nervous. And I put them on, and they look clear, and then I just go about my day, and it's awesome.
Let's see him. Put him on.
So if you want a pair of Shady Rays, ooh, those lights really let you know that these are a little bit dirty.
Look how lame this guy is
Really?
wearing sunglasses inside.
That's not my fault.
There is an antiperspirant hand lotion. Thank you.
I'm gonna check that out.
Hand
Just
lotion.
clog your
Just
pores
matte.
so much so they can't.
It's just like a mattifying lotion. That's interesting. Okay.
Antiperspirant.
mattifying.
So does that actually
that
make you
word.
not sweat?
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's
it?
yeah.
Yeah. But so should you not put that on when you go to the gym though? Because isn't like
Right.
the sweat kind of the healthy part
You would just like become a
or
balloon.
part of it?
I
Because like you
mean,
should perspire, right?
I don't think.
Cats don't sweat.
I do know that.
Yeah.
I don't think.
That's why dogs pant.
That's
I
why
don't
cats
know.
What
can't.
they do, but
Yeah,
not
they
as
do.
much.
They just don't do it as much as dogs do.
Like I can work really hard during a workout and maybe not be like sweating as much
Yeah.
as I would in a workout where I like wasn't working as hard. Does that make sense? So I don't
That is
really
true.
think that like perspiration to work ratio is always.
Right.
And I
No,
guess
it's
the more I
true.
think about it, it's more like the high school wrestling team. It's like you got to be like 157 pounds by weigh-in, so you got to like
Yeah.
sweat out all the water. So I guess that would be different than.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
wouldn't
know.
want to put that on.
I'll do some research later.
Yeah,
But
of
Shady
course you
Rays,
will.
if you want to go over to shadyrays.com, you can actually use the code DMVR and get half off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. They're great sunglasses, so go check them out.
They are. Go check them out. And let's check out the rest of Broncos practice. Obviously, the Jerry Jeudy news leads off.
Yeah.
That's why we just
Yep.
spent an hour
Did
talking
we?
Is that what that
about
was?
Yes. That's why we
Oh
just
my
spent an
goodness.
hour talking about it. I think we've covered it for all we
As
can
much as we
today. This was supposed to be the biggest practice of training camp.
I know, day
that
two.
we saw. So let's get into that. Let's spend this segment talking about what else we saw at Broncos practice, because one of the things, before we dive into today, one of the things we really learned today was how bad yesterday was. We came on this pod and talked about just the Broncos got beat on offense, they got beat on defense, and it wasn't good. And then the coaches came out today And Sean Payton said our energy was much better. It was awful yesterday. Vance Joseph said, yeah, our energy yesterday was just unacceptable, awful. I talked to the guys after it, after practice. So today, after it was better today, we found out just how bad yesterday was.
Yeah.
So I don't even think we were as hard on the team as we should have been yesterday. But today, it was better.
Ish. At the beginning.
Yes, at the beginning.
Yeah, I think they came out hot. I think the energy was so much higher. I think when you probably have like Sean Payton and Vance Joseph, just, their voices ringing in your ears, you're probably like, I'm going to come out with a little bit more juice today.
Yeah.
And according to Sean Payton, that's exactly what they did. But things. Good to see. Things definitely. Can I also mention too, I thought today was a fiery practice. Like there were fights going on. I actually asked Alex Singleton after practice who he got in a fight with. And he was like, I don't know, some bitch ass running back. And I was just like, he's still mad
friend
about
of the
it.
show, Alex.
There were a number of scuffles.
Friend of Alexis and Zach. Alex.
Not
Hey,
yours.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're frenemies.
Frenemies.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So there were a ton of scuffles. I like seeing that kind of stuff
Yep.
in practice, especially a joint practice, obviously. But things slowly tapered off. I think we can,
Yeah.
hint at
Before we dive into that,
the tapering.
yes, before we dive into the tapering,
Let's start here. Let's keep it here.
let's talk about the fights, the scuffles.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty normal.
You're having a
I
tough
know,
time
I
with
know,
your
What is up with
I
that
always
today.
do. I don't know. Pretty normal injury list today, outside of Mike Purcell being back, which was really good.
That
That's
was
big. He's big.
He is big.
Big
Except-
Jordan Humphrey, some would say.
Exactly, big Mike.
Big Mike.
Except for
Humphrey.
one guy, Damari Mathis.
Oh, yes.
Did not practice today. He was off on the side field where injured players typically are. No one else was wearing a jersey, except for Damari Mathis. He was wearing a jersey, and I didn't see him leave practice early yesterday with an injury. Maybe he did. Maybe he tweaked something. It was a little thing. This is total speculation here from me. He was the only one that got in a fight, that started
Was
a fight
he-
yesterday.
Are you saying he was disciplined?
Maybe. We heard Kevin Stefanski with the Browns yesterday say, I'm going to discipline my players big time. If a starter gets in a fight, he has to play in this third preseason game. If a backup gets in a fight, he's not going to play in this preseason game. So coaches are disciplining players. I don't know. That's just something we're going to keep our eye, hopefully it's not an injury. I hope this was a discipline thing, or else it means Damari's injured. So I hope it's a discipline thing
I
where
saw
he just
him-
had to sit out today.
I saw him coming off the field, and he looked to be in pretty good spirits. Like, he looked fine. I didn't see...
agree. Or is it because he had a snow cone?
Everybody had
ice
snow
cream?
It was
cones.
ice cream
There
day
was,
out there.
like,
It was snow cone ice cream
churros
day.
and all kinds of stuff.
Somebody
Yeah.
and somebody didn't recognize, which is kind of rare. Like I wasn't sure
Especially
who
for
it was.
Back of the roster, Hank.
Exactly. But he had a snow cone in one hand, an ice cream thing in the other hand, and in his ice cream hand, he also had 2 full churros. And I didn't see anybody else.
Was that for Brony?
It was not for Boney.
Yeah, it wasn't for Brony.
No.
I can
Wait, Mitch,
confirm.
for Bo-
I confirm
for
that.
Brony.
Maybe you know what? Respect to him, because he's like, if Hank doesn't know me, I'm not making this roster, so I might as well get as much free ice cream,
Exactly.
free churros, free shaved ice as I can.
Maybe they're
And-
telling
and
him to put
he
weight
did.
on.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
other thing on Damari, I didn't see him leave yesterday either, but it was Jaquan who gave up the fade to like the back corner of
Yep.
the end zone yesterday at the very end of practice in the 2-minute drill. And if he was in the game, then maybe Damari wasn't.
That's fair.
Which is just
Yeah.
like a speculation guess thing, but there's a chance.
No, it's fair. It's fair. Okay, so now let's go. So let's really quick talk about why practice was good at the beginning.
Because of Nik Bonitto.
Nik Bonitto.
Woo! My.
Just like the Cowboys
Goodness.
last year.
So Nik Bonitto, you're right, exactly.
Yeah.
Joint
Yeah.
practice is Nik
Roles
Bonitto's
reversed.
time
Yeah.
to shine. Nik Bonitto going up against the Rams' first string right tackle, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. I mean, Nick maybe should have been arrested for what he was doing to this guy, because 2 or 3 sacks for Nick.
I had 2 sacks and like a big tackle for loss.
2
like one
sacks
of
and a
those
big
where he's
tackle
like
for a loss.
there right when the running back was getting the ball.
And we're talking about like the first 10 plays.
Mm-hmm.
For 7 plays, Nik Bonitto is destroying it so much so Randy Gregory's on the sideline, not for any bad reasons. Randy Gregory's like losing his mind with how good Nik Bonitto's doing. So much so that Nik Bonitto, the ball snapped, he just slides through the tackle and right guard, or it was the tackle and the tight end, sacks Matthew Stafford in like half a second.
Yep.
They blow the play dead. Stafford doesn't even get to throw the ball, which you rarely see. Typically, they let the play continue.
Yeah.
Sean McVay, the Rams offensive coordinator, play caller, head coach, comes over, gives Nik Bonitto a fist bump. I've never seen that. His line just got tortured, and he's giving Nik Bonitto props. That's just how good Nik Bonitto was to start practice.
I think, what is it? Game, how does it go? Game respects game, or game?
Game respect.
How does that go? Somebody put that in the comments. Somebody else knows. I know. Why is that escaping me right now? I have no idea. I do want to point out that I did interview Nik Bonitto yesterday. If you have not seen that interview,
streak is continuing.
Go watch it. And he was awesome. And there was some shit talking at the end.
I love it. Love it.
Which was awesome, which will also come about in today's interview with Caden Stearns, of course. But there is a trend.
Find those. Yes, there is a trend. Find those YouTubes and interviews on our YouTube page, DNVR Sports. Alexis Perry's killing it. We got so many other videos on there as well. But there is, I don't think it's a trend anymore. I think it's just the Alexis Perry effect.
Yep.
Anytime Alexis Perry talks to someone, the next day and the next week and the next many weeks, they're just like the stars of the show. Who was last week, Alexis?
Well, we had
Was
Greg
it last week?
Alberto.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right.
The big one.
The big one was
He's just
Alberto.
been on fire
Also,
since you talked to
we
him.
got Javonte Williams the week before he played. Like, there's
Wonder
just
Boy.
been, I mean, Wonder Boy. Yeah. It's still my favorite. I was like, what should we be calling you? He's like, Wonder Boy. There is a little trend going on, an effect, as some might say. Nik Bonitto, I think there's a consistency thing from Nik Bonitto that we're all just like waiting. But I know people in the building have said that this is the most mature guy. Like the steps that he's taken maturity wise, both physically, like getting bigger, his size, but also mentally, and the way that he's approaching the game from the mental side, he has grown so much. So I think him taking the steps, not only mentally, but physically, I mean, he's reaping the reward of the work that he put in this offseason in both facets. So I am so high on this Broncos pass rush. And I don't know if I'm crazy and like, they maybe didn't look as good yesterday, obviously, against the Rams offensive line, but like at the end of the day, I have seen them in games. Like I saw them against the Cards, I saw them against the 49ers. They look damn good against the ones. So it's like, I don't know. I'm pretty high on them. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. I mean, we've seen it every day. They've been really, really good. I just want to see it in the game.
Where to go the rest of practice, though.
Exactly.
And
like,
I
just
guess
a little more.
well, really quick, because I did tell you we'd talk about the Rams, quote-unquote, starting right tackle.
Oh, yeah.
From our friend James Palmer, Henry.
That he said he'd only been a left tackle, right? And so these are like his first snaps ever as a right tackle.
Yeah.
And so you're flipping everything around, and you're like, you gotta be strong with a different arm, and you're setting differently, you're kicking with a different leg, and it's just a little different. But still, I mean, he dominated him.
And it was because like the right tackle had a vet rest day or something. I don't remember, but yeah, it was like James was like, yeah, like this guy probably will never play here. And it's like, okay. Well, but Nick still did what he needed to do.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then the offensive side came out sharp, like not, they weren't explosive or anything, but they looked okay to start practice.
Gave up a couple sacks.
Of course, I guess that just is part of it.
The run blocking
actually,
went a lot
right.
better.
You're right, though. I mean, the protection was rough.
Yep.
Now, I believe Russ hit Jerry for like a 15, 20-yard gain fairly early in practice, and that was like, okay, whew. Jerry caught his first pass after dropping 2 yesterday. Let's get this rolling. Then, honestly, it was kind of when Jerry got hurt is when the offense started tapering off, when the defense started tapering off, and to be fair, maybe the offense did lose a little bit of emotional strength because they saw Jerry leave. The defense was on another field, tons of people in between. They had no idea Jerry left. So that one was coincidence.
Yeah.
The offense might have not been coincidence, but we're talking about the offense fell off so far. that they're doing mini drills starting from the 25 going in, so pretty much red zone.
Yeah.
0 touchdowns for the offense. 0 touchdowns for the offense all day. The first team offense, I should say.
I thought the same thing you thought about, like, it shouldn't affect the defense. But then I just thought, like, well, what if one guy, let's just say, like, Justin Simmons is standing on the sideline. He turns around and sees Jerry Jeudy on a cart to the locker room. Like, that's almost worse than seeing him, like, grab the hamstring and that's what it is. Like, they
like
could
they
just
just
see him
didn't
on the
know.
cart and be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, he's on a cart. Like, is he just done for the year? So if they did see that and word kind of got passed around, I could see how that could get in their head.
So you wanna just you just want to give them an excuse?
No,
Feels
you
like
can't
that's
do
what you're
that.
doing.
But I don't know. It's just a thought that crossed my mind. Like,
Players
It's
are
possible.
going to get hurt in games, though.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to know about it.
true.
You can't just, like, be down for the count. Once
Oh,
that
no,
happens.
definitely not. And it probably didn't play too much of effect on either side, other than the fact that, like, Jerry Jeudy is not the one catching the passes. Like, there's a downgrade there. But, yeah, I mean, the offense, pass protection kind of got better from that point. Russ was still pretty good when he got out of the pocket for the most part. I guess that pass to Jerry was probably the biggest one from out of the pocket that I can think of. A couple good runs. They moved the ball pretty well in the move the ball drill.
No.
You don't
I
think
think
so?
you're being too nice. I mean,
I think they weren't converting, and so they were giving him
And they-
first downs.
Yeah.
that just happened. Like, I was like, wait, what happened? That was an incomplete pass. Yet they have a first down again. I think it honestly, maybe they would have got 1 first down in a real game, and then they're punting from their own 40 or something. It just, I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
felt like
true.
they got like 5 fifth down or 3 fifth down opportunities, and even with those extra downs, they only still made it to like
Yeah.
the Rams' 30-yard line.
They
Yeah.
only
So that was really disappointing because it was just like, no, we'll give you a free pass. No, okay, 1 more free pass. Okay, last free pass.
Yeah, but I mean that's just the structure of the drill. Like that's what they did yesterday on both sides. Where
Yeah.
it's just like where's
But the Rams didn't do that. They
Yeah,
went
they
down
did.
and scored a touchdown.
oh they did better.
I mean,
yeah,
they didn't
Yeah.
need that extra help, and they still were able to go score
but
a touchdown.
they still had the defense stopped them. Like they got bumped ahead because that's just the way the drill works. Is like
that
you
was
go
like
through.
early in practice. The Broncos defense wasn't allowing the Rams to do anything, and then the Rams later in practice went down and scored a touchdown.
I think
Yeah.
earlier in practice, that was the Pat Surtain pass breakup on Puka, and then like Isang Bassi had the interception and the PBU as well.
Yeah.
So like the defense was absolutely killing it, and I'm pretty sure that was during the same drill on
Yeah.
the other side of the field. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
And
Am I
those
wrong?
were-
I could be wrong.
No, and
No, that was right.
Shout out to Isang Bassi
Yeah.
just to give him a little more
Yeah.
credit because he deserves it. He was working with the first team today, and in the red zone period, he had that interception, and it was such a stupid play from Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he was
It was
doing.
like he was trying to throw it away, but also giving himself like a slight chance for a touchdown. If you're throwing the ball away, you throw the ball away. And Isang just made a great like toe tap catch at the side of the end zone, and then the very next play on the opposite side of the field, Isang makes a great pass breakup to prevent a touchdown. So I
Yeah.
mean, great back-to-back plays from him.
Has he made a case for himself to make this team?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the conversation. It's just tough for him because one of the perks of Isang is that he can also play safety, but you also have way too many safeties right now.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, it's nice that it allows you to not keep one of those safeties, but that means you're not keeping PJ Locke or you're not keeping JL Skinner. And those are guys who are probably going to stick around, so I wonder how much the versatility helps. And I guess on game days it helps more. You don't have to make JL Skinner active.
Yeah.
I guess PJ's still active because you want him for special teams, but it helps. The numbers are just kind of tough with the DBs because you know you're keeping 5 safeties, unless
Yeah.
they cut Skinner, which kind of blow my mind.
I guess that's just what happens when you have so much talent in one
Exactly.
area. So yeah, let's just say I don't think Christian Parker is like upset.
No,
No.
It's just like, I have so much
That's
talent, I don't know what to do with it all.
probably part of the reason they have so many good players there is that
Yeah.
Christian Parker is the one coaching him.
Exactly.
But going back to move the ball drill, just check my
Yeah.
notes. It was only that first one they picked up.
Yeah.
That first down. And on the other field, it was Jaquan who was giving up the third downs. It was the slant, it was the post. And it's been a really rough couple weeks for him. Really rough.
Well, and so that brings up the question: is Jaquan going to make the roster? And we got a pretty straightforward answer to that, in my opinion, today from Vance Joseph. And let me tell you about it after I tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge Distillery. We've got them right here, the Battle
Yes.
of the Bourbons. Ed McCaffrey, versus Alfred Williams. Alexis Perry is going to try them both right now and tell us which one is better. She's going to have a big swig of both.
We're celebrating today, too.
And enter. You can do that. If you buy both of them, you try them. Tell us if you like, well, don't tell us. Tell Breckenridge Brewery if you like the Ed McCaffrey or the Alfred Williams blend more over at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. The Battle of the Bourbons. And if you vote in that, you're going to win 2 tickets or you can win 2 tickets to the Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite for the Broncos-Chargers game on December 31st. Post your favorite Broncos photo to Instagram and Facebook using the hashtag Broncos Bourbon. They're going to narrow down to 10 favorites on the beginning of January, then pick. So make sure to tag it on Facebook and Instagram and also go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com. You can also pick up their Ricky Seltzers in all 50 states. Breckenridge Distillery is available, so check them out, BreckenridgeDistillery.com.
And also call 222-2222 if you wind up needing help because somebody hurt you.
If you need to sue.
If you need to sue, yeah.
Smash the 2.
Yeah, they're the best at suing people
Alexis will never forget that.
in the entire state. Well, hopefully it doesn't come up, but that's a good thing to remember.
It's true. Or you just look at a bus.
Yeah, basically any bus
Literally.
these days.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Any
awesome.
bus.
But
I
yeah,
drove by one yesterday, and I was like, smash
it's
the 2.
awesome. Yeah, smash the 2. But if that bus smashed you, then you could smash the 2 and get that bus
Jeez.
right back and take a bunch of money, because that's what Bax and Shaker does. They're an awesome Colorado company. They've won over $1 billion for their clients. So if anything bad happens, I always think about those stairs because there's that bad one at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's
That one's almost got me a few times.
I know.
Yeah.
It did get somebody.
Yeah.
I almost want to say, oh, it was Alyssa. No, or was it Marissa?
Wow. 2 names that
I think it was Marissa. I think it was Marissa on like her first day, or it was like the first time I met her, and so I was just like laughing my ass
Fell
off.
all the way.
Yeah,
Tripped.
Yeah,
That's
and she was like
final
bang, bang,
stare.
bang on the way down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
you were
what?
laughing at that?
Somebody
She
slipping
should've
down the stairs.
Called 222 on you.
No,
Jeez
that's like the basis of every cartoon.
Now you're laughing at injuries now?
You ever see somebody slip on banana peel?
Never.
Well, that's fair.
Have you?
One time, my mom actually put him out at like the top of the stairs because she was like,
so
you know what?
you have something in your family about making people fall downstairs and
Well, no,
laughing
because
at it.
it's funny. Like that's why like you see in a cartoon somebody's like slips on banana. Like it's funny. It's funny when somebody slips and falls. Not when it's like an
Reminds me
old person.
The banana peel with
Mario Kart.
No. And Billy Madison. O'Doyle rules. O'Doyle
Oh.
rules. So they're all like driving the car and then they hit the banana peel that was thrown out the bus window.
That's so good.
See,
Oh
it's
my God.
only a movie thing.
It's only it's not real.
It's in
Or video
cartoons
games.
too.
It's make
Well, I mean, it
believe
didn't get
thing.
me.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not the point whether it's funny or not. If somebody slips
It
or
really
falls.
isn't the
but
point.
if you slip and
Really.
fall, then you should call 222-2222 and just sue whoever was the reason.
Boom. There you go. Okay. What are other takeaways from today's practice?
Other takeaways.
I know you're scrolling through these notes, Henry.
No, I opened up my other notes.
Wait, what did
Want
I
a dark
tease?
note?
What did I tease something? What was it? What did I tease?
You tease. Oh, Vance Joseph and what he said.
Yes.
Yeah, about Jaquan.
Yes,
That's
thank
right.
you. He said when talking about Jaquan's had a great camp and he's going to help us win games this
Literally,
season.
Yep.
starred on the notes. Hard to see. It's very scribbly.
Very difficult to read.
Starred, help us win.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is a defensive coordinator telling you this guy's making the team.
Yeah, and he definitely is. I mean, he's been pretty clearly like one of their top options at the position. Yeah, I mean, even this spring, like they made it clear that they really like him, and they should. Like he has great ball skills. The thing that just caught up with him recently is not that he hasn't been in good position. It's just that he's not the biggest corner. And so both those plays today, like the slant on a 3rd and 4, I think, the post on a 3rd and 10, like he's in position. He's just kind of small, and he's not able to get the ball away from the receiver. So it's not ideal, but that's definitely somebody worth keeping around, especially when you go up against some small receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of other notes from today that I have down is Multiple scuffles, Alex Singleton in one. You also had Michael Burton right in the middle
Yep.
of one.
That
When
was
we
fun.
built our list of who's going to fight, I believe we had both of those
We
guys
did.
right in there. The last play of practice was like, it was a good opportunity for the Broncos offense to get in the end zone. So
Yeah.
we could say the Broncos first team offense scored. They're from the 10-yard line. There's 2 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
You have to go to the end zone. Russell Wilson fires a dart to Cortland Sutton. We have a really shitty angle of this play because they've moved us onto the field level. I don't know what happened, but it was in Cortland Sutton's vicinity.
Yep.
He either dropped it, it was a pass breakup, it was a mix of the two. What I know, it was incomplete.
There was like a defender on his back and it hit his hands. And so you're like, yeah,
So you
as a
did see
receiver.
that. Okay,
yeah,
so
so
mix.
if a receiver's going to, like, you can't expect a receiver to make that catch, but it is Cortland Sutton, who's a really big receiver, and that's one of the perks of having a really big receiver. It's kind of one of the points of Cortland Sutton is he can make that catch.
Now, though, you need Cortland Sutton to make these. You can't have Cortland Sutton be a number 2.
No,
Cortland
he's
Sutton has to be a number 1 receiver, and that's what makes it scary about only having one guy now among the 3 that we've talked about. Among Jerry, Tim, Cortland, you were really hoping you got a solid number 1. You're really hoping you got a solid number 2. And then that third guy, maybe he can have a big jump or something. Now you just don't have that. Cortland has to come down with them.
yeah. I mean, if Jerry isn't there to start the season, Sutton is getting 12, 15 targets probably. I mean, you're making that the game plan.
Pretty easy for a defense to figure out.
Definitely.
Just saying.
But you
Yep.
you make them double. And if they get to the point where they say we have to double, then you kind of win that. And all of a sudden you got matchups for other guys. But that's really the starting point, is that he needs to win his one-on-one, because you're just throwing at that one over and over again so that you can open something else up.
Yep.
I feel like, is this a time for Sean Payton to just prove that he is Sean Payton?
Oh, yeah.
Like the bag of tricks, Like I think he's going to have to pull out for the first couple weeks a bag of tricks. And I'm excited because
Definitely.
I think if he's able to get it done with these guys, I mean, he already has quite the legacy, but he's like cementing his legacy early here in Denver, where it's like, okay, things aren't perfect, and Sean Payton is Sean Paytoning.
You have one receiver that you can really trust.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, that's, I don't know. It's not necessarily like a fun situation to be in, but
Yep.
the silver lining is that it is going to be fun to see what Sean Payton tries to do. And I
Yeah.
guess, again, hopefully Jerry's back. Hopefully it heals quickly, but just seems
Here's
unlikely.
to hoping.
Here's to
Yesterday,
hoping.
we talked about, is Alberto going to make this team? Now, is it even more of an opportunity for him with Jerry being out?
Probably.
He's obviously not taking Jerry Jeudy's role as a receiver. But again, today, another touchdown for
Yeah.
Alberto.
Yep.
Another good day. Maybe the only guy, one of the few guys, I should say, that's put back-to-back good days together in joint practice.
Yep.
I think I like literally, as my notes takeaways today, Albert O making things tough on staff.
And
like-
then, yeah. And then he dunked the ball.
And then that makes things a little bit easier on the staff because they're like, what the hell are you doing?
What
do
are
not
we
do that.
doing? So we're
Why
talking about
not?
a red zone
He's done
period.
that
Why not?
before. He's done that before in a
Why
game, hasn't he?
not? Did he?
Yeah, I feel like one of his like iconic Alberto
Yeah, he
touchdowns.
definitely
That's so
has.
ironic that I even just said that line. But I know he's done it in a game before. I think it was 2 years ago. Wasn't last year.
And so today, playing with, was it Danucci or Stidham?
Stidham.
Stidham. He catches a touchdown back of the end zone, about 10 yards out, I think. So great play. Alberto, you scored a touchdown. You're really making, as Alexis said, you're making it hard on the staff whether to keep you or not, which is a good thing for a back-of-the-roster guy to do when you're 5th on the depth chart. It means you're doing something good. He immediately gets up, dunks the ball over the post. There's
Love it.
refs there. Flag is thrown, the easiest flag ever thrown. Ever. You practice how you play, right?
Yeah.
Why the heck are you doing that?
I
Have
like
some
it.
fun.
I
It's
know,
practice.
I know,
Like you don't
really.
cost 15 yards. They're putting the ball back at the 5 regardless.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So Caden Stearns got torched on like the 3rd down. He's covering Kyron Williams, old running back from Notre
Yeah.
Dame, and it just deep up the sideline and catches it, and it's a touchdown. And then he turns around and punts the ball in the air. It's the same thing. Like the refs throw their flags. They're all frustrated, but nothing happens. Like it's joint practices. Get something
Yeah.
going.
No,
Flex
it's
on him.
stupid.
I know. I talked to Caden after, and I was like, "Hey, good practice," and he was like, "Well, not really." And I was like, "All right, well."
I wasn't gonna say bad practice.
No, I literally said, "Ask Ryan." I think it's on tape. I was just like, "Well, like other than the touchdown you gave up, but yeah." What do you want me to say in that situation?
At least you didn't bring it up.
Yeah, well,
Like you can't say like, tough practice.
He brought it up, and I was like, "Yeah, you
Really
right.
looked rough
you
out
right."
there.
Yeah,
Wish
geez,
I'd
what
requested
were you
somebody else
doing
today.
out there. Okay, let's hop. Any other things you guys want to say about practice? Just looking at our notes.
Nik Bonitto, huge day. So
Yeah.
Tan, pass breakup. Russ.
He did have the good pass breakup.
Russ laid on some stuff. I just felt like he was a little. I think on the Russ-o-meter today, he'd probably be. What do you guys think? A 3?
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? It's probably back-to-back 3 days for Russ.
Yeah.
While like he was a 3, the offense was probably a 2 or a 1.5 or something.
I agree.
But that was a good takeaway from yesterday. Was like, okay, the offense wasn't good, but Russ wasn't bad. Like he didn't have interceptions. He didn't have should-be interceptions.
No, he's been
today.
fine.
Yeah,
He's been fine.
He hasn't been holding him back.
Yeah.
And that would be the biggest concern this entire training camp if Russ was really bad and Russ is the one holding him back. So I'd rather see other people be holding him back. Unfortunately, if I had to pick, Russ has been, non-existent, which is just so weird to say about a quarterback. But that means he wasn't good. Means he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which is, I guess, a positive just from where we're coming from with Russ, where he was last year.
Yeah. I think if we're not sitting here being like, can you believe the 2 days that Russ put together? Like, this is not good. I'm concerned. Like, the sky is falling. Like, we could be having a totally different conversation. It's concerning when you're like, okay, there were a lot of other factors that played into the Broncos' very average to slightly below average performance over the past couple days. But again, like, it's joint practice. It's late in the game. It's the third preseason game is on Saturday. This isn't last week, right? Like, there's just some adjustments. There's some timing. There's some things that are just like a little off still, but I'm not overly concerned, especially with Russ. I think Russ is going to be fine. There's just other things going on with the offense, including the offensive line, and my boy Garrett Bowles still not looking great. Just some other issues that I think that they need to address.
And there's only one receiver now.
And there's only one receiver.
Which also doesn't make the matters any better. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe they lost another one.
I know.
That's just so big. Drew Sanders.
Yeah.
It jumped an out route. Great play. Just like a 5-7 yard out route. He gets underneath it, gets both hands on it, just bounces off.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like, why
hands.
didn't you close your hands when the ball was in them?
It's one of those ones where you're like, what a great player. And then you see like a football go right through his hands, like hit his helmet, and you're like,
damn.
but kind of goofy looking right
Exactly.
now.
And that's the Drew Sanders thing is like, wow, he's so close to being so good. But also is he just kind of good even when he's not really sure what he's doing out there? Like he's
so physically
he's
talented.
been pretty good. Like the talent just bails him out.
Yeah, like year one Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That's
Man, I like that
Okay.
comp a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, you know,
Was
we're
it-
like a little awkward, but
Yeah.
he'll figure it out over time. And
Was
then
it was
he
it
might win us a championship.
Josie or Alex that had the other interception? Not go through their hands because it would have been a very, very, very tough play. It was like
It was
jumping
Josie.
Yeah.
through
Like
the
he
hands.
It was like maybe through his fingertips.
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
might
It was
not have even
high,
touched it,
yeah.
but he might have gotten like his pointer fingers on it. Who knows?
Like my stomach immediately like hurt when I saw it because I was like, imagine stretching your body like that far back. I'm like, I don't do enough Pilates to know that. I also had on my notes too, and I know we're switching from defense to offense again. I thought Javonte Williams had a few really good runs today.
Yeah. The run
like
blocking wasn't bad.
encouraging runs,
lanes.
and the run blocking was
Yeah.
good. Like a run at one point where it kind of reminded me of that Baltimore game. Where he just like carried defenders on him. Do you guys remember that one? It was like a 40-yard gain,
Yeah,
and he
He
was
has a
just
bunch of those.
yeah, Marlon Humphrey was just falling off of him. It kind of reminded me of that, where I'm like, okay, like that was like classic Javonte Williams, Pookie Williams, Wonder Boy,
Wonder Boy.
Mike
Wonder Boy's
Myers,
so
like
awesome.
whatever nickname we want to give him. But it was very classic Javonte Williams, and just to see him being really consistent out there is really encouraging.
Yeah, I'm only calling Javonte Wonder Boy this season. I'm so excited because obviously he hasn't been in the locker room forever.
Yeah.
But I had like some of my most fun conversations with him because he's like just super cool and laid back. Like when Russ got his contract, I was like, yeah, so if you got like a $50 million sign bonus, what would you do? He's like, oh, I've got the car all picked out. Like going through all that stuff. So we had like a bunch of those sorts of talks. But I'm really excited. What's up, Wonder Boy?
Yeah.
I think he's gonna love it too.
I think we should go with it. I feel like, is there a show on right now where Wonder Boy is like one of the nicknames? Like what is Wonder Boy from?
I don't know. Like it feels so familiar though.
Yeah, it feels familiar. It's very homey.
There's
but like
Underdog.
No.
But that's not the same at all.
I had no idea if it was 1 or 2 words.
Wonder
Wonder
Boy?
Boy.
It's 1 word.
Yeah.
Wonder
I
Boy
found
is.
out. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's how little I know.
Yeah, I'm excited for Javonte or Wonder
Yeah.
Boy or whatever the hell we're gonna call him.
Yeah.
Should we dive into some questions?
Love questions.
Let's
Do we
do
have
it.
any super chats, Alyssa? No super
Oh,
chats.
we did a bad job.
Speaking of, hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. You guys and gals have already really helped us. We really appreciate it. Didn't even have to ask, and you almost got us to 150. Let's get to 200 by the end of the show.
Or
And
I'm
once the
never coming
show's
back.
over, hit us with a thumbs up and hit us and get us even higher. Or else,
I'm
what's this?
never coming back. If
Wow!
we don't get to number
no.
Oh my
two. This
goodness!
is risky.
Gotta give the likes.
This is risky.
Give us the likes. We want Alexis on the show all the time.
Kickboxer.
So
Okay.
please hit us with those likes. First question coming in on the website from Arvada Luke says, friends, it is really hard to come up with questions not obviously directed at the Super Bowl champion amongst you, but I think I found one. Well, Todd's not here, but we'll see where this goes. During the regular season, what is a day that you have a hard time getting up for and motivating? What is a day where you wake up before your alarm goes off? Also, a couple of marketing ideas for you for week 5. Quote, sauce is about to get cooked. T-shirt idea. Front that says court is back. Back says Judge, Jeudy, and Executioner. Obviously, Judy's name.
Yeah.
What is Breckenridge? When is Breckenridge getting a vineyard? Arvada Luke.
Wow.
There's a lot there.
I don't know if I
There's a lot there.
completely
Wait, what was the-
processed all of it.
I know. First part.
So first
When
one.
do we have trouble waking up?
Yes. What days are you motivated? What days aren't you?
Was that for Todd? Was that specifically supposed to be for like a player perspective?
Maybe. Should we
I-
just leave that one
We
for
can't
Todd?
give that.
I know.
We can answer
I can
anyway.
assume.
I will say, like, day like 16, 17 of camp, when you're like waking up and you're just like, okay, I should really go to the gym this morning because I don't want to like
Yeah.
wait until 7:30 and then be going
That
to the
was
gym
me
then.
today.
Yep.
Once you early in camp, those are my two answers. Like first couple days of camp, you're like, yep, up, ready to go. Like let's get this day going. End of camp, sleep time.
Yep. Of course, the days that I get up before my alarm goes off are the days that I don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why couldn't this been yesterday? When
Yeah.
I had to get up and it was impossible to get up.
Yeah. I think so I've been leaving my drapes open lately.
Oh,
And so the sun is waking me up. So I'm like a 6 a.m. riser now. And it's kind of a vibe. I get up, I go on a walk, and like it's still crispy cool outside.
Yeah.
Where like you have a jacket on you, but like you don't really need it. Like I actually really do look forward to getting up and going on my morning like Zen walk. Also,
Morning Zen walk.
my phone died because I forgot to plug it in last night. So on my walk today, I had to switch over to my Apple Watch. Guess what song started playing once I pressed play on Apple Music? This is apparently a song that I have downloaded and paid for.
What's that?
Hymn to the Sea, the Titanic soundtrack.
oh,
Yeah. And I will tell you,
Why?
it's like a golden hour sunrise.
Perfect.
Hymn to the Sea at like 6 a.m. was a freaking
Wow.
vibe.
I've gone through some of those phases where it's like, yeah, just leave the window open. Like the sun will wake me up, get up nice and early, and it is incredible. But then as soon as
And
I
you're like,
fall
"What the
out of the
hell?"
rhythm, yeah, it's you do it for like a month and a half or so, and then like you sleep in 2 days in a row, and you're just like, I can't get back to it now.
Oh, I will never
Yeah.
not have the shades wide open.
Wow.
Always wide open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm also in downtown Denver on the ground floor.
Oh, leave that shit
So I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Creepy.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Next one from Zen Bronco says, my boys and girls. First off, I want to say congratulations to Randy Gregory on making the Hall of Fame. It's been a long
Ish.
time coming, and ish. And hopefully this means they will start to actually say his title with 2,000 tackles. Says, it's crazy how the Broncos have had 2 legendary defenses, and the more current had a person inducted before the one from the 60s. This is not a shot at the no-fly zone because DeMarcus Ware 100% deserves to be a first ballot, but it shows how the Hall of Fame views the Broncos' Orange Crush and shorts them. Also, I know I keep hearing that it would be great to beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but for me, if we could only win once, I would say let's beat them in the playoffs to knock them out. I think this would be an awesome way to end the streak they have on us. Totally agree. I constantly have to listen to these bandwagon Chiefs fans because my town is in the same place Mahomes went to college, and the people here won't shut up because they act like he actually did something while at Texas Tech. So it'd be really nice if we could be the reason that they're out of the playoffs. Also, Henry, why are you always making inside linebackers mad? Are you going to start imagining your face on the other team's offense like a water boy? And a quick question, a question for Todd Davis, but he's not
He's
here.
not here, sorry.
Says, thanks for the pod. I really enjoy it, and go Broncos.
Sorry,
Wow.
wasted spot on me today.
No.
Wow. Yeah. Whenever somebody's like, Hank, blah, blah, it's like, oh God, what's this going to be? Is it a Chiefs thing? Is it going to be everything? It was the linebackers. And I don't know what it is about them. I don't know. I guess it's that I don't fear them enough. Like that.
Do you see what
You
Josie
don't-
Jewell does to Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
fear. I'm sorry. Did you just say like you don't fear Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton?
I
enough?
don't think I fear them enough. I think that's what it is. But I mean, should I?
Yeah,
I guess maybe.
I think you should. I think we should get you in pads.
Yeah. Have
and
you
see
seen?
what happens?
It's Steve Atwater hitting Troy Rank.
Yes.
Yes.
I
ridiculous.
can't
On
find
the
that
TV
video. I want to
commercial.
find that video
It
because I
was-
want to. That's the one I need to pitch to like Todd and Alex and.
Yeah,
like,
I
look at
think
this,
it was
it's
like
incredible.
a little promo for last year. They
Yeah.
were doing something like, oh, Steve was doing like a minute little update with Troy,
Okay.
like every day or every few days or whatever. So they were like promoting that. So that's what it's from.
So good.
I know Steve has it on his phone
Okay.
because he showed it to me a lot. He's like, remember that time I hit Troy Rank? I'm like, so good.
It's so good.
I like that he'll probably like be more excited to talk to you about the hit on Troy Rank than the one on Christian Okoye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there, it's weird. There's nothing he wants to talk about less than when he played football.
That's because truly, like, when he does appearances, you guys, like, I did a lot over Zoom, especially during COVID with him. And, like, unfortunately, the fan questions are, like, I'm not kidding, like, shockingly the exact same questions every single appearance. So I don't think it's because he, like, doesn't want to answer.
Yeah.
He's not excited or proud of his past or the team or anything like that. I just think like he's just said the same stories so many times. It's like why I don't want to date right now. Like I can only tell people so many times. Like, well, I
Wow.
grew up in California and then I joined the sport. Like it's like that where it's like how many times and like I'm taking a break because I'm just like I can't do the mind numbing like
Wow.
first
Yeah.
date. Like
Yeah.
that's Steve Atwater right now. He's like I just don't want to do the mind numbing like. Well, back in 1989 when I was drafted from Arkansas, and like I just don't think he wants to do it anymore.
Yeah. I also feel bad for him at like every day at training camp because there's
Somebody.
always like 2-3 people who come up and it's like, can I have an autograph? And he's like, no, I don't do those here, which he absolutely could not do because if he signed one, he'd have like 100 to sign. And it's his job to
100%.
watch practice, but then
Yeah.
he's got to feel bad about saying
does.
no. Like that's a tough situation
I
to
called
be
him
in.
out on it today, and he was like, he's like, I just feel so. He's truly, there is not a single. I will lock eyes with the camera on this. There's not a single more genuine, kind, like loving, just like perfect
know.
human being on the planet than
Yes.
Steve Atwater. So like that's when you know where he's just like, this is going to open a can of worms to the point where like all of a sudden I'm signing everything.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
That's a tough
I have a
position to be
petition
in.
like leave Steve alone, but like I get it.
know.
He's literally one of the greatest
He's Steve Atwater.
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
I get it. I see both sides.
Yeah. Also,
No, 100%.
somebody today came up to Matt McChesney and thought he was Derek Wolf and was like, "Hey, Derek, how's it going?" And McChesney just went along with it.
That is
Yeah, I love it.
incredible.
Yeah, that was
Did
a
he
good time.
sign
Love
it like
that.
Derek Wolf?
I don't think he had to sign anything.
Oh my god.
I love you, Derek.
That would
Yeah,
be
which is
so
weird because like
funny.
15 seconds before that, I'd seen Derek just like walking through the gate and leaving practice, and I hadn't realized he was there. So somebody must have been like,
Oh,
"Did you see
so
Derek go
someone
that
saw
way?"
him.
And Matt's being on like 6'3" and
Yeah.
what he's like 330 pounds or something. He said.
And he has tattoos just like
Oh,
Derek,
yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a big dude.
He
Yeah.
said that Derek just copied him, but we don't need to get into all that.
we're talking about the Steve Atwater hit on
There we go.
on multiple people on Troy Rank.
Yeah.
I think your hit on Benjamin Albright down the hill is the most iconic.
People have gone back and forth on whether or not that was like intentional or not.
Yeah.
I have no comment. on whether or not it was
Says
intentional.
enough. Says enough.
No,
I love it.
It was so funny because like in my IFB, they were like, Alexis, you guys need to scoot to the right. And like when I watched the film, it is like a really aggressive. Like I could have just been like, hey, can you scoot over a little bit? But like I threw that elbow as if I'd like secretly been wanting to for years.
Had you?
Yeah.
It was subconsciously, probably. No, it's so fun. Like I used to do a lot of shows with Ben. He's always been around. He was a friend of the program over there with the Broncos. I don't know why I pushed him down that hill, but I'm not gonna ever apologize.
Yeah,
for
it
doing
doesn't sound like you are. It sounds like you're proud of it.
No, I actually am proud of it. I just wish I was wearing something different. Like I had a tea time later that day. So like I was wearing this like goofy golf dress with like some like Adidas cloud like shoe looking things. I don't know what the hell they were, but I just like the fact that video circulates all the time. I'm like, the one day I was wearing like the goofiest outfit I could have thought of.
Yep.
It's like just all over the internet.
Yeah.
It's like my viral video. It's like, really?
Wow.
Of course.
Don't worry. Everyone's just looking at Ben just fall down the hill.
I don't know anybody who wears like leather bottom dress shoes to practice.
Especially, standing on a hill. That's going to be tough.
And it was hot. Like, it's like leather.
Right.
Like, he
This
could
was
wear
training camp last year, right?
Yes, he could wear those to a wedding. Like,
Yeah.
I was confused. I was like, I know you're on the show today, but like, one, we're not going to see your feet. Two, practicality.
Yep.
No, not here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I served a purpose.
Couple of more questions. Aviator Chris says, howdy, y'all. Happy I have my membership on auto renewal and entering year 3 of being a diehard. Let's go. Has another question for Todd. He says, my wife got me NFL Blitz Arcade for my 30th birthday. Do y'all have as many memories with this game as I do? Keep up the great work. Oh, NFL Blitz we're talking about?
I love
Of course.
NFL Blitz.
Yeah.
Because they have it at 1UP, which I don't go there often enough. I should be there more, honestly.
Yeah, you should have a punch card.
Exactly. Like, it's a
Yeah.
great place. But we always do, like, pinball and stuff, which is, like, fun. But the NFL Blitz and NBA Jam, like, those are perfect games. Because you don't have to be any good.
Yeah.
Like, if you just play for a couple minutes, then all of a sudden, like, you got something going on. And it's always competitive. I love that game. But I guess I started playing recently. Like, only since I moved here.
Henry, you know who else loves you besides, like, your mom and dad?
My grandparents?
The Count.
Ah, yes.
Probably your grandparents, too.
Yeah.
And
Not as much as the
he
Count.
has something that he wants you to pronounce. Thank you, Josh Johnson, in the comment section. I appreciate that.
Zach is
Aw.
the
He has
man.
something
Is
that
you?
he wants you to pronounce, and I just texted it to you
Oh.
so I don't ruin it for you. So can you please
Oh.
read this? Can you please read this? The Count says, my folks, I'm curious as to how all of you pronounce the word.
Coupon.
Oh,
So,
my gosh.
is
Yeah,
that, see,
of
I tried
course.
coupon for a bit, but it just fused.
Q? Where's the Q?
Well, there's no Q in it.
Exactly.
Like that, but that's, I mean, there's no Q in the word Q either. Like pool Q. There is in the word Q, as in like you get in a queue.
How do you
which,
say it?
Coupon.
Coupon.
How do
Doesn't
you
it sound
say
silly?
You say
It sounds like a
Q?
joke.
Don't tell me you say Q, Alexis.
I think I'm a couponer.
Yeah, but like it is kind of fun. I feel like
I thought we were
smart-
both gonna get on
coupon.
Henry for this.
No, you're the weird one.
Coupon.
Oh, I'm
Alyssa, I
excited.
need your help. How do you say it? No! You gotta be
Yes.
kidding me.
Oh.
Who else? Who else? If
Coupons.
you're
Actually, I like them with
listening,
DL.
do you say it with a Q? Comment Q if you say it with a Q.
I think it's
there was no
I bet.
Q in here.
I bet Todd says coupon, but I also
No,
bet
Todd
James
definitely
absolutely
says
says coupon.
Yeah,
James
and Todd
definitely
say
says coupon. He has coupon vibes.
What a weird word to just keep saying.
coupon.
It's
I
kind
know.
of uncomfortable.
I
to
love
me,
a good
To me,
coupon.
it was Red River Rivalry today. I was like, how
was
am I going to
impressive.
mess this
Yeah.
up?
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a tongue twister. I don't think I messed it up. I might
Call it
have.
the for short.
I was like, yeah, the
we had fun with Ryan Green with that one.
Please tune into the
There's a lot
interview
of wasted
today.
time out there. Also,
Oh my gosh! Only people
Coupon.
saying coupon.
Yeah.
Also, that reminds
Blows
me,
my
my
mind.
plan for this weekend. I'm finally getting my pass to the museum, Nature and Science, Nature and Science is what they
Yep,
call it here,
yep.
because they
Not
have
too
this
far from
bug
here.
exhibit that
Nope,
leaves
I'm
on
out.
Sunday.
I'm
See,
out.
and that's what my girlfriend said too, and that's why I'm gonna go alone
Bugs?
like a loser. Yeah, But they're not. It's not like trays of bugs. It's like Meow Wolf style. So there's like just like massive. Like they make. It's the same people who made all
worse. That is a nightmare.
It's the same people who made.
Nightmare. I just
Yes.
almost
they're not
I almost
actual
dropped an
bugs.
F-bomb as hard as James did yesterday.
Wow.
But like I want to be like, that is an effing nightmare.
Wow, but no, it's
That
like
Why do you
really
want to
is.
do that?
Yes.
it's interesting. Like it's the same
You're
people who built the
interesting.
sets for Lord of the Rings. So like that like New Zealand company. So they built like these so you can see how it works. And it's like there's like this one bug, it flaps its wings really fast. It like melts other bugs, then can eat them. It's like that kind of stuff.
Somebody go with Hank.
Yeah.
Somebody in the comments.
I'm gonna look like a
Just-
loser if I go see the bugs by myself.
Someone help him out.
Gah.
Tomorrow afternoon is the plan, unless I can convince my girlfriend. Then we can go Saturday.
Should you say a time so like people could come and maybe meet you and make it a meet and greet?
Going to the stadium at 10, probably be done with that at noon. I'll probably go straight over there, use a discount. Members get discount, get food. That's where the coupon.
We're getting free food in the morning.
that
at the
was the
Broncos
tie-in.
Stadium.
That's
Here
true.
we
So
are.
maybe I'll eat
Yeah.
after. So yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh, charcuterie.
around two probably.
Round 2.
1 or 2.
Meet Hank there to see
And
really
unless-
creepy
I would
bugs.
really-
Unless I can convince my girlfriend.
All right, last question. Okay, 2 more questions. Nick Scott says, I'm so sick of Broncos injuries. I know everybody always
get
says
it.
that the team is always injured, blah, blah, blah. No, it's Denver more than every team every single year. Please let Jerry be okay. That's all. Thanks for letting me vent. Nick, a lot of people will agree with you, except Sean Payton. Sean Payton has now multiple times said this week that, nope, we don't have any above average injuries. Nope, we're not snake bitten at the receiver position. Nope, this stuff just happens.
Yeah, I mean, what, you lose 2 players for the season during camp? That's probably about normal. You also have like the KJ thing, which I'm not even sure how you count that. Everybody else, let's see, I guess you lose Barron for about half the season.
And that was an
everybody
off-season
else?
injury, which maybe every team has.
Yeah. So
off-season
say you
injury?
lose 1 guy for half the season, 2 guys for the full season,
And
now Jerry. Now Jerry's out for the first few weeks.
of the season.
So that's kind of what you're.
to be
I
fair,
don't
we're
think that's
talking
too far
To
off.
be fair, we're talking 2 starters, like
Yep.
including Jerry in
Yeah.
there. Like Jonas Griffith was not going to be a starter.
No.
A role player. I'm not trying to diminish him, but
Yep.
do you think that a lot of teams are going to miss 2 starters week 1?
Yeah. And
Probably.
we'll just see at the end of the year if it keeps going. If this is the pace they stick at, then yeah, it's trouble because by the numbers they have had the worst injury luck. But can you remember who else was gone for the year at this point last year? Tim Patrick would have been.
Yep.
Gone for the year.
Boy.
Who else are they down? Because like Bowles was during the season. Javonte was
Yep.
during the season.
At what point do you say Billy Turner was down? Because he was
Billy
down
was
pretty
never
much all
up.
year.
But he was supposed to be the start. Yeah, that is
Right,
a tough
exactly.
one.
He was supposed to be the starter, but he was just never there.
He also started like 8 games. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Like it feels like it was
started
like.
but didn't finish.
I wonder how many of those. Yeah, but that is kind of crazy. It doesn't. 8 sounds crazy.
Man, can you wait for
'Cause
the
that was-
Billy Turner revenge game week 5?
Yeah.
That's why they put it on prime time for
That's-
Billy Turner's revenge.
What number storyline is that? Is that like storyline like number like
That's the last
25?
one. It's the last one.
27?
Yeah.
I don't think it is
It's the
one.
last one.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's a story.
Well, he did say what was the word he used for? Did he call Sean Payton like a? Like
yeah.
he actually did call him a name, a bad name. I just don't remember what it was.
It wasn't like moron or
No, I
something,
think he
but it
dropped
was
the
like
F-bomb about him, though.
I
It was
remember
like,
seeing that
"You
quote."
effing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it was right
he
after
called
the-
him out
yeah.
big time.
that
Yeah.
was intense.
Okay.
That'll be one like if it's a blowout in like the 4th quarter, the commentators will be like, "Yeah, so also this happened."
right. Yeah, I agree. All right, last one coming in from Jordan Andrews on this almost 2-hour podcast. Holy smokes! Wow. Sorry, Alexis. For keeping
Time
me here.
flies.
good.
Says, fellas, how and why does this keep happening to us, the injuries? Wide receiver room with KJ, Jerry, TP, and Court had so much potential. I've never seen a group so compromised by injuries year after year on any team or position. Question for Todd. Keep up the good work, DNVR. Love to see the growth and success. Thank you so much, Jordan. Todd is celebrating a friend's birthday. He and Alexis and myself are going to be here for post-game on Saturday.
Let's go.
Maybe we'll hear from Henry.
It's possible.
Maybe. It's possible. It's possible.
I get to write
Or-
things. I get to go to the locker room and get my own interviews
Yeah.
done
Or he's
and
gonna
write
go
something up.
straight to the bug museum.
Probably.
I'll
yeah.
have already been there. Sunday is the last day, though. That's why, because I have game grade Sunday,
You
so
are
I can't
so
go.
sicko if you go to that twice.
Yeah.
I
Tell
think
me-
it might be really cool. Like it's just, Lord of the Rings. The people imagine the sets on Lord. These are the people who made that.
That's like.
But now they made it bugs.
That makes it even worse is because of like how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to make it that much worse. Like it's gonna be so good, it's really bad.
Which part? Sorry,
like, they're gonna make the bugs so realistic.
Oh yeah.
And good.
No, I think that's gonna be terrible.
That's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be awesome.
We have a
call
couple
him?
people who have actually pointed out the last thing that we were talking about with Billy Turner. Billy called him an effing bum. That's what it was.
Bum.
But
Yes.
you know what? Even if you don't like Sean Payton, even if you don't like Nathaniel Hackett, even if you don't like any coach in the NFL, probably the last thing they are is a bum.
Yeah.
Like, all they do is work. And when you say bum, I assume it's like lazy, the opposite of like all you do
I
is
just
work.
think it's a funny word.
So,
It is, yeah.
No matter,
You effing bum.
Yeah.
like Nathaniel Hackett was not a bum. Neither is Sean Payton.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that is kind of
They're not
weird.
bum.
Bum is kind of like a soft word to call someone.
Yeah.
But then you put effing right in front of it. It's
And
like
it
the
like
becomes
opposite.
the worst,
bulks it
yeah.
up a little bit. Yeah.
It's like the only thing it's lacking is just it's cursing.
That's like
so you can say it.
That's like if
Bulking it
Phillip
up.
Rivers, who never cussed, and
Oh.
like right before
That- yeah.
saying like, darn it, he just said like the F word.
Wow.
He's like, F you, darn it.
Could you?
It's like, why are we doing two different levels here?
Yeah.
Bum's a good one. I'm gonna start calling. I don't know. I won't say
I don't
many
know. I
mean
think there's
things.
like a better word than
I'll save that
bum.
one for Alex.
You want to say it?
Which
The
one?
better word than bum?
I don't know. Like, there are plenty.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, guys, I'm really trying to work on the potty mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's bad out at practice because, like, I sometimes forget. Like, I'm hanging with my friends.
Yeah.
So I kind of forget where I'm standing. And there's like fans right below us. And I'm like, this F it. Like, I just like sometimes I don't know. I like forget where I black out. I forget where I am. It's hot out there. I get it. But like,
I mean, today
I just
there was a fan that was like integrated into the conversation at points, but
Yeah.
at first I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was a fan. I just thought it was someone I couldn't see next to us.
Yeah.
And then you are right. You're like, oh, I hope I didn't say anything.
I know. I'm
Also,
like, what did I just say?
Shout out to the fan for being like super into practice, engaged. But like at one point I said like, yeah, Stidham just lit up that other field. I was talking to like D Mac and those, and he's like, I don't know about that.
questioned you.
Here's what happened in that stretch. So he Hinton deep left, BJ over the shore deep right, deep left on a scramble drill to number 36, the new receiver whose name I can't remember, and then Alberto for a first down. So like he's averaging like 20, 25 yards per pass, going 4 for 4.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know about that. And it's like,
Yeah.
what? Come
What
on.
did you
He
just
said he
watch?
was steady.
He
That's
said
what
he
the
was
fans
steady.
said.
I was like, what is? I mean, steadily picking up 20 yards a pass.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll get you a touchdown
That'll
in 4
do.
plays.
That'll do.
I've
I
also-
like this.
yeah.
Hank's a bum. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Wait,
What? Which is funny because like when I hear the word bum, I hear it in like a Boston accent, like "you bum," like like it's more like I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
have we talked about your Emmy yet?
Oh.
Or did we only talk about that off camera?
That was all off camera.
Ah,
'Cause you
congrats
wanted
on your
me to
Emmy.
bring it.
I know, I really did. I thought it'd be funny
you.
if we just put like an Emmy up here with no context until like 20 minutes and we say, oh yeah, also Alexa just won an Emmy.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks, team.
Yeah. What's it
That was
from?
fun. It was a Heartland Regional Emmy this year, and it was from the 88-minute Demarius Thomas documentary that I did when I was still working with the Broncos. So the
It was
Broncos
fantastic.
Broadcast Productions, Austin Brink is the GOAT over there. The way that he shot the whole thing is stunning. Aaron Gunning and Mike Genova on the edits. I was a producer on the project. It was one of those passion projects when we started producing it literally like the evening that we all found out about Demarius Thomas. And it was really hard. And it was like a stretch of time where we had done so many interviews with people who were really close to him. Von Miller, Derek Wolfe, Tom Brady even was included in this. And, even like a high school coach of his. And just the emotional toll that story took on all of us. Like, just listening to the impact that Demarius Thomas had really had on people's lives was so amazing. And so I will always say, like, we've been nominated for other Emmys and the Steve Atwater Road to Canton documentary. And actually a Randy Gradishar documentary is up as well at Denver Post on their YouTube channel. But to win for the Demarius Thomas one, I think will forever just be like one of the most, I don't even know what the word, like I'm at a loss for words because it's just like that project itself just meant so much to me, and I know our entire crew. So yeah, thank you, and a big shout out to the crew over there with the Broncos. I mean, like I said, Austin Brink is literally one of the most talented videographers I've ever seen in my entire life. So the way that it was shot was just stunning. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, 88 minutes long. That was also on accident.
Perfect. No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was very, we kind of laid it all out on a timeline, and it was 88 minutes.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, well, it's going to stay 88 minutes. So then we're like trimming stuff to make sure that it stayed 88 minutes because we didn't want to go over, under, and add stuff in and take other stuff out. But at that point, we're like, okay, that's, I don't know, 88, one love. It was very cool.
There was something crazy that happened in that first game, too, that was 88. Was there like an 88-yard game-winning drive or something?
There were, I think, a number of 88 things in that game. Yeah. And I know, or are we thinking of the game? Because
I think aren't we thinking of the game right after he passed away?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they honored him with the penalty, and then they also had the 88 on the sideline. And I do think you're right. I think there was a game-winning drive that was 88 seconds long that went 88 yards, and there were so many things incorporated with DT that was really cool.
Tim Tebow has a story about 88. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was shared on like a Tonight Show kind of vibe. I'll have to look that up afterwards.
You should ask him for us.
Yeah. I tried. Well, speaking of, hey, Tim Tebow, if you just so happen to watch the pod, we tried calling you numerous times to be a part of this documentary, and we could not get, hardest man on the planet to get a hold of.
Everybody
apparently
wants to talk to Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
Tim
that actually
Tebow.
doesn't surprise
He's
me.
popular.
Somehow Netflix talked to him.
I know, but not.
disrespectful.
I guess we probably don't need to dig into that whole Netflix documentary now, do we?
That's true. No, probably not, or else it'd be a 3-hour pod.
She's like, we gotta go.
We gotta go. As everyone in the chat has been saying, Alexis is the GOAT.
Oh,
so happy to be joined by you and Henry. Enjoy the Bug Museum. That's weird. We will all see you post game on Saturday night. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the near 2-hour pod.